Please be seated.
Daniel, where are we now? Fourth order.
Order, honourable members. The Secretary will read the fourth order.
Consideration of report of Portfolio Committee on Land Reform and Rural Development on oversight visit to Mpumalanga Province from 8 to 11 October 2024.
I now recognize the chairperson of the committee who will introduce the report. The Honourable Chairperson.
Thank you, Honourable House Chairperson, Honourable Members. Between the 8th and the 11th of October 2024, the Portfolio Committee on Land Reform and Rural Development conducted oversight visits at various land reform projects across 2 districts of
Honourable
Mpumalanga
Chairperson.
Province.
Honourable Chairperson, can you just hold it there? May I request the honourable members in the House just to keep the noise levels down? The chairperson of the committee is hardly audible. Can we just afford him the necessary respect, please? Thank you.
Following the recent oversight visit to Mpumalanga, it is truly disheartening that the report once again highlights issues that have persisted despite numerous interventions, such as tenure security and post-settlement support. The lack of adequate support for communal property associations is also deeply concerning, as these entities are meant to empower communities, yet they are struggling due to poor oversight, administrative failures, and resource constraints. We call on the Minister to fast-track the CPA turnaround period support plan and ensure that land ownership disputes do not continue to hinder progress. For an example, tensions that exist between traditional leaders and the CPAs. Furthermore, labor tenants and farm dwellers remain vulnerable as they face evictions and systemic neglect, such as the Kambule family we met in Mpumalanga. We continue our insistence on urgent legislative reforms to protect their tenure rights and prevent exploitative practices. Additionally, post-settlement support must not be an afterthought, as beneficiaries require financial and technical and also infrastructure support to ensure that land redistribution translates into economic empowerment. Farmers must be empowered with financial management training in order to phase out the current joint ventures, such as the ones we discovered at Mawewe and Mutsamo CPAs. The issues of climate smart agricultural practices and access to additional land where necessary. So without these interventions, land reform will continue to be a revolving door of failure. It has become quite clear that there is an urgent need for concrete action plans with clear timelines. Land reform must be more than just policy rhetoric. It must be an instrument of real transformation. An effective land reform program that uplifts the rural communities and ensures economic inclusion. We will continue to hold the department accountable for ensuring that land reform benefits intended recipients and fosters sustainable rural development. As a committee, it is our sincere hope that the issues raised for consideration in our report do not fall on deaf ears. I thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. I will now recognize political parties wishing to make a declaration. The usual times for declarations of votes will apply. The DA.
Enkosi kakhulu sihlalo. Malunga hloniphekileyo ngalenjekala ngamandizibulisela. Kuni nonke torho bethuna. House Chairperson, I can confirm that indeed the Portfolio Committee on Land Reform and Rural Development undertook a week-long oversight visit to the province of the Rising Sun in Mpumalanga. The revered anti-apartheid activist, a former member of this house, Helen Suzman, once said, open quote, "Go see for yourself," close quote. And we did just that. Colleagues will recall that I have said it a few times, either in a portfolio committee meeting or in the debates in this house, and I shall say it again. The Democratic Alliance is a party of the rule of law. Unlike the populists and breakers to my left, we believe in the supremacy of the Constitution. Land reform is critical to achieving social justice, economic growth, and sustainable development, but must be done within the confines of the law and the Constitution of the Republic. It should never be done in a manner that will undermine investment, economic growth, job creation, and property rights for individuals as enshrined in our Constitution, because we all have witnessed what the catastrophic consequences that will have. Just look across the Limpopo River. Unlike the anti-constitutionalists in this house and the ever-fading RET faction in the ANC, let me make it clear that the DA supports the efforts to redistribute land in a manner that supports our economic growth and is done in line with the laws of the land and fundamental protections contained in our world-renowned Constitution. The Mpumalanga oversight visit was an eye-opener for most of us. According to the Department of Land Reform and Rural Development, over 90 communal property associations across the country are either dysfunctional or non-compliant or both, and beneficiaries are the problem. Lo and behold, during this visit, claimants and beneficiaries accused departmental staff of being actively sowing divisions and create instability in CPAs so they can exploit the situation for their own selfish benefit. The concept of CPAs has largely failed. Probably it's about time we start looking at other models. Honorable members, corruption is alive and thriving in the land reform program. Legitimate claimants are for no reason kicked out of the list. In some cases, new claimants are known to the rest of the claimants, but related to government officials would be included in revisited lists. To amplify the extent of corruption in the land reform program, weekly my office is inundated with complaints from beneficiaries whose initial land they claimed is not given back to them in full, and government officials take the rest. In most settled land claims, there exists a disturbing common feature. Government has spent billions of rands purchasing land. 1 year later, the beneficiaries either lease back the land to the previous owner of the farm or it stays underutilized. Beneficiaries feel government has left them in a lurch. They are on their own. Honorable members, lack of government support post-settlement is a cause for concern. Giving people land for the sake of doing so without the necessary backup is basically setting them up to fail. It should be business as unusual. Post-settlement support must be the focus of this department to give land program a chance to succeed. Despite the above observations, the Democratic Alliance will support this report. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. MK.
Mbonge sihlalo. Umkhonto wesizwe party rejects this report. Lento nibiza ngeGNU, uhulumeni weGNU. Uhluleka ukuvikela abahlali baseMpumalanga nama small scale growers kubelungu ama white farmers ukuthi becindezelwe bengakwazi ukuoperate emhlabeni wabo abathi bawuthengele uhulumeni. Uhulumeni nama officials department bahlangana nama white farmers kumhlaba othengelwa abantu abamnyama uhulumeni bengakwazi ukusebenza kuona kuthiwe bazothola u10%, lo 10% abangawutholi. Ama CPAs aseMpumalanga, there are 7 CPAs iMawewe iMotsame, onke ama beneficiaries akhona watholi lutho. Ngizobuya ngize kuma labor tenants. Ama labor tenants akhona ngizokhuluma umndeni wakaKhambula. Umndeni wakaKhambula besilapha ngaphakathi. Amaphoyisa aseMpumalanga a reporter kubelungu ama white farmers. Silapha ngaphakathi kwaKhambula eplazini. U-station commander we-police station ufonelwa umlungu weplazi lakamakhelwane uthi afunana ama-members eParliament lapho ngaphandle kwakhe. Uma-station we-police station uhlulo kumphendula umlungu ngoba khona thina lapha. Umndeni wakaKhambula uyakhala uthi abelungu bashise imoto zakhe ebusuku uma evuka uvuka kukhona izinja ngaphakathi eplazini kodwa une-labor tenants claim. Uhulumende lo esimbiza ngoweGNU uyahluleka ukuvikela ama-labor tenants eMpumalanga. Ama-CPAs kusukela from 2019 iMawewe iMotsame awawathola ama-dividends. Instead of ithola ama-dividends i-RCL no-Cruz Brothers abenze i-joint venture nabo lapha eMpumalanga babatsheleka imali yokuthi bethola ama-dividends ukuphela konyaka. Njengamanje sebe-accumulate isikweletu esi more than 500 million. Ngama dividends abathola ukuze le agreement abayenzile ayenziwa ama officials department ewenza nabelungu ukuthi abantu bakithi bethi bathengela umhlaba uhulumeni kodwa bengakwazi ukubenefita kuona lo mhlaba. Njengamanje ama benefits abathola kona kuthiwa bayakweleta isikweletu. Uyenza umuntu ama dividends uthi kodwa unohulumeni weGNU maqede futhi usala accumulate isikweletu. Umkhonto wesizwe party awuyivumeli lento ukuthi kuthiwa abantu bakithi kwaZulu abanikwa umhlaba yonke indawo ama small scale growers anikwa umhlaba kodwa still ama white farmers abelungu basacindezela abantu bakithi abamnyama. Ngiyabonga.
The EFF.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, yesterday it was the birthday of the Commander-in-Chief. We wanted to extend our revolutionary salutation to the Commander-in-Chief. Chairperson, the plight of those who got land from the land reform program, the neglect by government, is one of the most serious crimes committed by the democratic state against the people. During this oversight, we visited various CPAs in Mpumalanga. The committee visited Mawewe and Matsamo CPAs. What is evident is that after land has been restored back to the people, beneficiaries and CPAs are left on their own devices. There is no post-settlement support, and this led to CPAs entering into joint ventures with previous owners of the land with the promise to recapitalize farming production and operations. The CPA operations are at even levels of functionality. The Mawewe CPA is relatively stable and managed well, although exclusively controlled by these business partners. However, Matsamo CPA is ravaged by greed, personal interest, elite interference, and internal squabbles. The last AGM of the Matsamo was in 2017. The executive committee is refusing to relinquish the leadership and unwilling to convene an annual general meeting on account of dispute on verification of membership, resulting into a CPA engaging in subletting of land without approval of CPA's members and the revenue generated being not used on the benefit of the general members. Why is the department not intervening, as they are mandated by the CPA Act to intervene? They cannot intervene because government officials are conflicted, are corrupt, and they are corrupt from the head to the foot. The ministers before the current ministers are just as corrupt as the officials. The failure of government to address the plight of labor tenants, resulting in costs descending into overreach and oversight space, which ordinarily should be the government and parliament space, is indicative, former Minister Tidiza, as a careless, reckless, and uncaring government. The cases of Mkwanazi as well as in Kambula on the Landman farm are perfect cases where expropriation without compensation can be used. In both cases, the labor tenants are on the farm, the owners are refusing to acknowledge their labor tenants' rights by allocating the land they are already occupying. The EFF calls on government to ensure that the tenure rights of labor tenants are secured so that whilst the government is processing the labor application tenants application,
Honourable Member,
no one
your time
should be
is now
unlawfully
expired.
removed
Thank
from
you.
the land that they occupy. The EFF called on swift action against racist farmers who continue
Honourable
to
Member,
victimize our people.
your
And the
time is
farms
now
must be
expired.
expropriated without compensation. Thank you.
The IFP.
Thank you, House Chairperson. Our members. Kulivula amehlo ikomiti ukuya eMpumalanga mkhulu umkhuba wenkohlakalo ekuphathweni kwalemhlaba amaqola amakhulu abasebenzi bomnyango abaxova amalungu amakomiti ama-CPAs banomthelela omkhulu ekutshaleni uqhekeko kubahlomuli ngaleyo ndlela abagugusha nabo bese beba namavenga amakhulu asikwayo ukuba beyisiza lo monakalo ke uyakhomba ukuthi kuyadinga ukuthi uhulumeni asondele eduzane ubukele eduzane konke okwenzakalayo ngoba kulihlazo ukuthi uhulumeni ekhiphe imali wathengela abantu emhlaba leyo mhlaba ingabazuzisi kepha igcine izuzisa abambalwa qhubeke nenkohlakalo kulabo abayisiza bona ababukela izisu zabo. Furthermore, post-settlement support must not be an afterthought, as a beneficiary require financial, technical, and infrastructure support to ensure that land redistribution translates into economic empowerment, as we have constantly called for. The IFP demands concrete action plans with clear timelines. Land reform must be an instrument to really transformation. We will hold the department accountable for a fair and sustainable land reform. Siyalesekela ke ikomiti umsebenzi elwenzileyo thokoza.
The PA. FF Plus.
From the PA, thank you.
Thank you.
Honourable House Chair, the visit to Mpumalanga was quite a mixed bag, with us meeting with more and less successful land reform projects. It reminded me of a book I read from the management consultant G.G. Alcock, who to his own account is a mother of a Zulu mother and an English father who grew up on the banks of the Tugela River. And he said that most black people that he knows would say, if you fix the past, the present will fix itself. While the most white people that he knows says, you can't do anything about the past, you can actually only change the future. And this is a very profound difference on how we approach something like land reform. The Department of Land Reform and Rural Development has the mandate in actuality to change the past, to fix the past in order to have a better future. Now that is a very difficult mandate, even for a department full of competent and honest officials who really try their best. What we saw in Mpumalanga were families who were resettled on land that they possessed before, also communities who were not relocated on that land but got that land in the legal person of a CPA, but the CPA does not farm. A strategic partner farms and pays out dividends. Now that means that a new class of peasant farmers are not created in the process. Now the problem is that the distant past, the past before land dispossession, gets better every year, while the more recent past, the past of apartheid, gets worse everywhere, and it makes it impossible to fix the future. I thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Action SA. The ACDP. May I request the honourable members who want to make interventions to move to the waiting chairs on my left or right hand side so that we can proceed smoothly with the proceedings. Action SA.
Apologies, Chair. Land restitution without skilled transfer, roads to market, and governance training and funding is being set up for failure. When you look at our CPAs, there's no governance training. The lands that have been fruitful because of squabbles and poor management now lie fallow. If there's no training on how CPAs should be run, on how trust should be run, we're creating a problem. We also need to ensure that there's an effort to look for previous landowners. Not all of us are labor tenants, but you find the rise of owners not being recognized. We need to look at our own systems that manage land well. We should not undermine tribal systems that managed land well, that ensured that those that were given lands to farm were also given the resources to be able to farm. Lack of training, lack of implements, lack of funding is a major problem. We cannot, as people of African descent, continue to be set up to fail. Government is not doing us a favor by restoring our lands, but it's not doing us any favor by not giving us the necessary technical assistance to ensure that the lands are productive. What people are asking for is a helping hand and not handouts. Can I plead that there be a transfer of skills and support to communities? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The ACDP.
Thank you, House Chair. House Chair, the ACDP has read this report and we support responsible land reform to remedy the injustices of the past. We support the restitution of land with compensation. The oversight visit is an important indication to what degree land reform is being applied successfully. Regrettably, the report indicates that all the sites that the Portfolio Committee visited had specific issues that required attention by the department. In other words, there were significant challenges. Challenges regarding the CPAs, challenges regarding labor tenants, challenges regarding insufficient equipment, tractors, training, resources to emerging farmers. Now, a lot of these issues are not new. The complaints of corruption that members refer to were highlighted in the Kgalema Motlanthe high-level report, as well as the SIU reports, and very little has been done to address those issues that have been continually raised. As the Honourable Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee indicated, land reform will continue to be a revolving door of failure if these issues are not addressed. It is indeed disheartening to see the same old issues being raised with very little attention being taken to remedy them. And we as the ACDP trust that the recommendations that the report has brought out will be implemented and that this Parliament will exercise more effective oversight to ensure that the very emotional land issue and its recommendations in this report are implemented. I thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The UDM, RISE.
Nakhensa mthamastulu bahlonipheki bawo. As the agricultural economist Wandile Sihlobo will say, the problem with land reform is not insufficiency of land, but ineffective bureaucracies and inadequate support to beneficiaries. The land reform challenges in Mpumalanga, as highlighted by the report, is but one part of the land reform challenges across South Africa. These challenges stand in the way of productive use of land, particularly for agriculture in South Africa. There are many South Africans who are desperately needing assistance insofar as their farming skills to ensure that as a nation we are food secure. From ourselves as RISE Mzansi, we want to appreciate the work of the Portfolio Committee in not sugarcoating the challenges of land reform, but also highlighting some of the big issues relating to the CPAs. Because what we are seeing, as it was articulated by the Portfolio Chairperson, is that there is, in many instances, a lack of transparency in governance and finances of many of the CPAs. And we believe that the time has arrived for the government, especially the Minister of Land Reform, to also recognize, working together with the Minister of Agriculture, that for us to succeed, we did not at all times treat farming as a group project, but identify suitable beneficiaries so that they can produce the necessary food for our people.
Thank you, Honourable Member. BOSA.
Thank you, Chair. Land reform is about justice, and it is at the heart of addressing the legacy of an evil past. And we've got to make sure that we pursue this with sound judgment and never with nefarious political intentions. We all know that land was weaponized in this country and it was used as a political tool during apartheid. Therefore, the onus is on us to make sure that now, in this democracy, we don't do the same thing in the pursuit of land reform today. And this begins by making sure that we have the correct facts and data on who owns the land in South Africa. Now, according to the report of the Portfolio Committee on Land Reform, the state lacks a reliable land ownership database, and the report highlights that land redistribution is hindered by administrative inefficiencies and uncertainty around PLA's farms. And these are meant to be part of the government's land reform strategy. Instead of first utilizing state-owned land that is already available, the government is only looking at one aspect at this point, which is expropriating private land, and this is something that we have to make sure happens at the same time, parallel. BOSA demands at this point, and would want to see, a comprehensive and transparent land audit. We need hard facts, and we need to make sure that it's not just about political rhetoric. How can we talk about now taking land when the government itself cannot account for what already exists? We need to make sure that we do this in a way that restores trust, and that actually, ultimately, we don't undermine the process of land reform, and we don't undermine the process of redress, and we make sure that land reform actually works. So the real failure here isn't that we lack land. It's a lack of leadership, and we need to make sure that we have real solutions and are serious about fixing the issue of land in this country. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. ATM. Al-Jamaa.
No declaration. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. NCC. PAC. UAT. Good. The UAT is on its way.
Thank you, Chairperson. Owesome Africa. The report of Mpumalanga oversight visit is a story of African farmers in South Africa. The UAT stand here to speak the truth, an unfiltered, painful truth that echoes across generations of dispossession and racial injustice. We stand here not as beggars asking for what is ours, but as Africans demanding the return of our stolen land. In Mpumalanga, when the land is identified for redistribution, delays in valuation stall the process. The budget is slashed, ensuring that distribution happen in a snail's pace, if at all. And when our people claim their land, the courts become the weapon against them, forcing them into lengthy legal battles while they starve, while they remain homeless, while they suffer. Even when the land is returned, what happened? There is no infrastructure, no support, no investment in making that land productive. This is intentional. It is designed to ensure African land ownership fails, so that they can turn around and say, the story of the Nkambule family in Waggerstroom is a painful example of what happened across the country. An African family with the legal rights to their land being terrorized because of their dare to exist. Their grazing field banned, their water poisoned, their home satellite, their livelihood destroyed. All of this while the police and the municipality do nothing. The crisis in Nkangala and Khatsibande, we saw a deep crisis runs. In Nkangala, families are caught in endless conflict because claims are settled without resolving the status of leases. These are farms without lease agreements, people living in limbo, and no government capacity to monitor or support those who have the land.
Honourable Member, your time is now expired.
The land question is not just about ownership. It's about dignity, justice, and economic liberation. We cannot be free until the land is returned to the people. Kani mambo.
The ANC. The ANC.
Thank you, Chairperson. Honourable Chairperson, the oversight we undertook to Mpumalanga Province as the Portfolio Committee on Land Reform and Rural Development unearthed a lot of persistent regressive challenges. The resolution is such pressing challenges required effective executive commitment and action. Honourable Chairperson, the legitimate historical grievances and land disposition and deprivation of property remains valid, and the state must take all reasonable steps to adequately reverse the injustice of successive colonial and apartheid regime. These tendencies manifest in many landowners refusing accept of acquisition of land on the grounds of just and equitable constitutional principle. This is undermining the spirit of our Constitution and the principle of healing the divisions of the past through redress. All of these acts constitute a violation of and contrary of existing laws. Land tenure reform is non-negotiable, and therefore the rights of security of tenure is sacrosanct. Notwithstanding these challenges, Honourable Chairperson, we must applaud the Mpumalanga Province Shared Service Centre for the milestone they have completed in terms of restitution. Approximately 3,380 claims have been settled, whereas 703 claims were transferred to other provinces as a result of changes in the demarcation of provincial boundaries. Between 1st July 2014 and 2028 July 2016, the Commission received 10,849 new order claims in Mpumalanga. Honorable Chairperson and Honorable Members, in terms of redistribution between 1994 and 2024, the program of land redistribution saw a total of 676 farms acquired in Mpumalanga at the cost of 3 billion rand. Honorable Chairperson, the functionality of communal property association in many cases require urgent attention to rescue them from financial mismanagement and governance decay. Currently in Mpumalanga, there is 470 registered CPAs owning approximately 379,505,5293 hectares of land. CPAs are progressively instrumental of transforming of land ownership pattern and economic productive, and therefore need urgent intervention to strengthen the transformation and development potential. Chairperson, the train is moving. All that is required is more resources for accelerate of land reform to realize a better life for all. We must keep moving at a faster pace and scale to fulfill the historic mission of returning the land, both rural and urban, to the rightful owners. There are many successes stories of the radical land reform program. An existing example is the Owesome CPA, which processes sugarcane, banana, mango, vegetables, and lychee. This is their own production, generating employment for more than 5,175 people. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Member. I now recognize the Honourable the Chief Whip of the largest party.
Thank you very much, Chair and Honourable Chair, and good afternoon to you. May I therefore propose that the report be adopted?
The motion is that the report be adopted. Are there any objections? Yes, Honourable Member.
Thanks, Chair. Umkhonto wesizwe party continues to assert that expropriation
Member,
of
I'm not
land,
asking you to make a speech. You either indicate
expropriation of land without compensation remains the only viable land reform solution. We therefore resolutely reject the report.
Honourable Member, you are completely out of order. You had an opportunity to make a declaration. You simply indicate
we reject
whether
the
you
report, Chair.
Reject or support. That's all. No further.
And therefore calling for a division.
Honourable members, a division having been called, the bells will be rung for 5 minutes.
I don't know, to get something, I've been noisy.
I wanted to go to the toilet.
Why are the bells ringing?
sit next to you today. I'm supposed to sit here until 10. What time? Where's the... Oh, the revised. No, let me complete the other report. And then the other member will come. Honourable members, will you please take up your allocated seats? Honourable members of the ANC, can you please release the Honourable Kaula so that she can take up a seat, please? Thank you. Order, honourable members. Honourable members, the Speaker has determined that in accordance with the rules, a manual voting procedure will be used for this division. In order to establish a quorum, I would request the table to confirm that we do have the requisite number of members physically present in the chamber to take this decision. Party whips will then be given an opportunity to confirm the number of their members present and indicate if they vote for or against the question. A member who wishes to abstain or vote against the party vote may do so by informing the chair. Having confirmed that we have the requisite quorum, we will now proceed. The question before the House is that the report of the Portfolio Committee on Land Reform and Rural Development on the oversight visit to Mpumalanga be agreed to. Voting will now commence and the doors of the chamber will remain locked and members will not be allowed to enter until voting is concluded. I will now request whips to confirm the number of the members that's present in the chamber and indicate if they vote for or against the question. The ANC.
Thanks, Chair. The ANC with 105 members support the adoption of the report. Thank you.
The DA.
House Chairperson, the DA with 61 members in the House vote in favour.
MK.
The MK with 39 members vote against.
Thank you. The EFF. Should I come back to you?
House Chair.
Yes.
The EFF supports the report.
How many members do you have, Honourable Member?
28.
Thank you. The IFP.
House Chairperson, the IFP with 11 members supports the report.
Thank you. PA.
House Chairperson, Patriotic Alliance with 6 members voting in support. Thank you.
Honourable members, will you just quiet down? It's difficult to hear the declaration of the vote of the party whips. Action SA.
Honourable House Chair, Action SA with 4 members, we support the report.
FF Plus.
House Chairperson, 5 members in favour.
ACDP.
House Chair, the ACDP has 2 members voting in favour.
The UDM.
UDM has 2 members voting in favour.
RISE.
RISE 1 member, we support.
BOSA.
BOSA with 1 member supports.
ATM.
ATM 1 member vote against.
Al-Jama.
Al-Jama with 2 members support.
NCC. The PAC. UAT.
UAT was member, we reject.
Good. Is there any member that wishes to abstain or vote differently to their party? There's none. Thank you. The voting session is now closed. Honourable members, there's no abstentions. 228 voted in favour, 41 voted against, and the question is accordingly agreed to. The Secretary will read the 5th order.
Consideration of report of Portfolio Committee on Health on Oversight visit to Northwest Province from 8 to 11 October 2024.
I now invite the chairperson of the committee who will introduce the report, the Honourable Glomo.
Honourable Chair, honourable members, citizens of South Africa, and in particular Northwest and the district of Bojanala, I present this report for consideration and hopefully adoption. The committee visited Northwest, in particular Bojanala district, on the 8th to the 11th of October 2024. Northwest was put under administration section 101B by National Department of Health in April of 2018. Among other things the committee wanted to assess was the improvement in the health care services of that province. As a committee, we visited 6 facilities: Job Shimankana Tabane Provincial Hospital, abbreviated as JST, 2 district hospitals, Moses Kotane and Coastal Hospital, 2 CHCs, and 1 forensic pathology services facility. We have given the National Department of Health 3 months to come back with a report on the recommendations that we have put to them, and it will be end of March this year. I would like to highlight just a few of those recommendations that we gave to this department. One is the filling of critical posts, especially the JST hospital, improving the maternal outcomes, improvement in some parts of the district, the shortage of medicines, improvement on the waiting times for patients, the construction of Boitekong CHC in a waterlogged area is a great concern to the community, and we would like to know if there was any environmental impact study done before or during the construction of that CHC. The delays in the emergency medical services, ambulances, the infrastructure concerns, especially where there were roof leaks, which might actually end into injuries on duty. Notwithstanding these concerns, honourable members, our visit to Northwest picked up very good things. One of them was that the MEC for Health was with us throughout these 6 facilities that we visited. The 2 districts that we visited, 2 district hospitals, Moses Kotane and Coastal Hospitals, both of them have had no maternal deaths for 2 years. This we attribute to the competency of the nursing staff that is working in the maternity wards. 2 of these hospitals have got helipads. And just to assist the members to understand, the presence of a helipad in any facility contributes to the safe mother, safe babies. If mothers are in labor and they can be picked up by nurses who actually find a very suspicious challenges during labor, they can actually be sent in those facilities. So we want to actually commend them for this. And we then want to say, this is something that must be learned. National Development Minister, we are happy that you are here to say, just go and check Coastal Hospital in Moses Kotane and see whether what is happening there cannot be rolled out into the country, into the whole country. 2 district hospitals, no maternal death for 2 years, is something that is very significant. Committee has also taken a decision that in all visits that we do in the country, we'll do oversight on the forensic pathology services like we did. This because there are challenges in KwaZulu-Natal and Eastern Cape when it comes to this area. We want to advise Minister that maybe you will find strength in visiting Limpopo and Northwest, because our reports are showing that these 2 provinces are doing very well optimally on forensic pathology services. And we therefore present this report to the House, hopefully for adoption. We thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honourable Member. There will now be an opportunity for declarations. The DA.
Thank you, Chairperson. Today we stand before this House to deliver a critical reflection on from a Health Committee oversight visit to the Northwest Province, a province that was placed under administration due to severe financial mismanagement and lack of effective service delivery. Our findings paint a concerning picture of systemic failures in the healthcare system, yet they also highlight clear pathways for urgent interventions and sustainable improvements. At the core of our recommendations is the need for decisive action to restore dignity, efficiency, and quality in healthcare delivery. We call upon the province and the administrators to prioritise the recruitment process, ensuring that all critical posts are filled without delay. This is essential in alleviating staff shortages, improving patient care, and reducing excessive waiting times. Furthermore, maternal health care must be assessed thoroughly to understand the over-reliance on caesarean sections and to encourage safer, natural birthing practices where possible. Equally, we must address the shortages of the ophthalmology specialists and essential medical equipment to restore comprehensive eye care services. The committee also identified urgent deficiencies in pharmaceutical services, stock shortages, poor stock management, and medication collection inefficiencies must be rectified immediately. A patient notification system should be implemented to inform individuals when their medication is ready for collection, reducing wastage and ensuring adherence to treatment plans. The conditions of Boitokong community health care demands immediate intervention. The persistent water shortages necessitates the installation of a borehole, while increased cleaning staff are required to maintain hygiene standards. Additionally, the sluggish EMS response times must be investigated with solutions implemented to enhance emergency care. At Moses Kotane Hospital, we commend the facility for recording 0 maternal deaths over the past 2 years, a remarkable achievement. However, fiscal discipline is needed to ensure that the budget is effectively managed, service providers are paid within 30 days, and resources such as EMS vehicles are adequately maintained and provided. Critical infrastructure challenges, including power outages and water shortages, must be mitigated through solar energy investments and borehole installations. The state of Mkhwasi Community Health Centre calls for urgent repairs to address the deteriorating infrastructure. Peeling walls and floors must be restored, while essential medical supplies such as contraceptives must be constantly stocked. Increased staffing, improved EMS capacity, and proper ventilation in the casualty unit are non-negotiable necessities for ensuring well-being of both patients and healthcare workers. Costa District Hospital stands out for its commendable service delivery, but urgent expansions are required. The construction of a fully equipped theatre must be prioritised to reduce patient transfers. The hospital must also remove hazardous asbestos from its roof and address all structural safety concerns. At Brits Forensic Mortuary, a dedicated budget must be allocated to construct proper medical waste disposal facilities, create a dignified waiting area for families, and install durable flooring to maintain high hygiene standards. Honourable members, these recommendations must not remain mere words on paper. The North West Province Department of Health must respond within 3 months with clear progress reports of implementation. The people of the North West deserve better, dignified healthcare, efficient service delivery, and a system that places their well-being above all else. We will not stand idle while our people suffer. We will not tolerate delays or bureaucratic inefficiencies. It is time for action. It is time for accountability. It is time for real change. Thank you, Chairperson. The DA supports this report.
Thank you, Honourable Member. MK.
No, thanks, Chairperson. As the MK party, we stand here today not to sugarcoat, but to tell the real story of our people as it should be told. We are here to highlight the shocking state of healthcare in the Northwest Province, an issue that reflects the broader national healthcare crisis in our country. As the MK party, we stand firmly in support of the universal healthcare, but it is clear that the current federal system is failing our people. If we are serious about providing quality healthcare, this system must urgently be reviewed. Our recent oversight in the Northwest Province revealed a deeply broken system, casting doubts on the Government of National Unity's ability to roll out the national health insurance by 2030. Fellow South Africans, this is the story of the Northwest, as it should be told, and this is the truth and this is the reality. 30 of critical medical posts remain vacant, leaving hospitals and clinics overwhelmed. Hospitals are in decay with leaking roofs, broken equipment, and some facilities without running water. Over 80% of public hospitals have no security at night, putting both patients and staff at risk. Essential medicines, including contraceptives and chronic medication, are frequently out of stock, sometimes for over 6 months. Emergency medical services are failing, with some patients waiting for about 4 hours for an ambulance. The province has less than half the EMS vehicles needed. Slow digitization means patients spend the entire day in queues just to access the basic health care. At specific facilities, we saw firsthand how corruption mismanagement has worsened the crisis. In Kutugong Community Healthcare Center, which was built in a swamp, a textbook case of classical corruption, wasted millions of the taxpayers' money. We demand a full investigation and a report on this particular matter because it cannot be business as usual. In Moses Kotane, in the hospital is failing to pay service providers on time, yet no one is held accountable. In Mkhwasi Community Health Care Center, there's critical understaffing, there's poor leadership, and immediate intervention is required in this regard. In Brits Forensic Hospital, we identified about unprocessed bodies since 2021. If it was not because of the intervention of MK, the situation would remain the same. This is the truth, and the truth must be told. This must never happen again because we must have respect to our people. This is the story of the Eastern Cape. This is the story of the Free State. This is the story of Mpumalanga. We need leadership in this particular regard because health is just a right, but it's not a privilege for our people. We need leadership in this regard. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The EFF.
Tobela Mudula Stulo Lemaleloko. Chairperson, the Portfolio Committee on Health undertook this oversight visit to Northwest Province following the placing of the Provincial Department of Health under administration in terms of Section 100, subsection 1B of the Constitution. One of the major problems facing the provision of health services in the province is that there has not been a commensurate increase in the number of health facilities to match up with the growth of the population. This is a particular concern in the Bujanala district, and the obvious consequence is that these health facilities become overwhelmed. When engaging with the patients in various health facilities, the majority were complaining of slow services, the files not being there causing problems to referrals in addition to unnecessary delays, waiting long hours to collect medication, as well as poor attitude of certain staff. Chairperson, Rustenburg is too big to have just 2 forensic mortuaries which cater for both that area and breadth. This results in heavy backlogs of tests at forensic laboratories and high number of unclaimed bodies. It was further observed that there were no designated spaces for medical waste, proper flooring, and no designated waiting area for families in almost all the medical facilities that were visited. In all of these facilities, we were characterized by old dilapidated infrastructure, overcrowding, inadequate record keeping, and understaffing. Some facilities' roofs were leaking. Chairperson, while we agree with the observation and recommendation made, we have seen far too often that we adopt these reports and then they gather dust here. This department must be made to account. The lives of millions of our people depend on us being able to hold this department to account for the provision of services. We must refuse further budget cuts that will further cripple the ability of the health facilities to provide proper health care for our people. Therefore, Chairperson, we support the report. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The IFP.
Honorable Chairperson, as the Inkatha Freedom Party, we believe that access to quality care is a fundamental right in the challenges in the Northwest Province underscore an urgent need for systemic reform. We are particularly concerned about the staff shortages, dilapidated infrastructure, and inadequate medical supplies. While the Portfolio Committee's report accurately identifies issues like poor maintenance, underfunding, and management inefficiencies, we stress that these are long-standing problems needing immediate and long-term solutions. We are critical of the delays in addressing these challenges and call the urgent resource allocation to improve infrastructure, recruit and retain healthcare facility professionals, and enhance quality involvement in the government. The IFP is committed to advocating the increased healthcare funding and ensuring that all facilities meet acceptable standards, as they are expected to meet the standards of the ideal clinic, ideal hospitals, as well as national cost standards, and ensuring the quality care service delivery. We urge Parliament, the Department of Health, and provincial authorities to urgently implement the Portfolio Committee's recommendation. Quality healthcare is essential for the well-being of all citizens. We remain dedicated to improving healthcare delivery. the IFP accept the report. I thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The PA.
Ke a leboga modulasetulo, honorable members, ke sa lebale bokoni bophirima ko ke tswang teng, ke re dumelang le lona batho ba bokoni bophirima. Seemo sa lefapha la boitekanelo mo bokoni bophirima se mo maemong a sa kgatlhiseng. We take note of the Portfolio Committee's oversight visit to the several medical facilities in the Northwest Province. How the Provincial Department of Health was brought under national administration under Section 101B, as mentioned in the report, is the first question that comes to mind. Izizathu zokuthi amandla okulawula athathwe abekwe ezandleni zikamelekeleli azichazwanga embikweni. The report describes of how the government provides public facilities to its citizens is depressing. It is devastating to consider that this administration has abandoned its citizens and left them in ruins, as we can see from committee's observation. The breast forensic mortuary is mentioned in point 4 of the report. Medical trash has no place and is dangerous because medical waste contains microorganisms. Inappropriate disposal of this material might spread dangerous diseases. Those who are exposed to medical waste on the job site are the ones who are most at risk from incorrect disposal. Our government cannot afford to endanger the lives of our citizens. Chair, in 3.1.2 of the report, we note the committee made observations at the Job Simankane Tabane Hospital casualty ward. It lacks a bathroom and an inadequate barrier to prevent infections because a curtain was only obstructing the path. Treating our people in this manner is completely inappropriate. There are more than usual medication stockouts, which worries me. How can this be? We see that 6 establishments that were...
Remember, your time is now expired.
We urge the Health Minister to step in and take prompt action to guarantee that the Northwest Provincial Department received all assistance required to guarantee improved service delivery to the residents of Northwest.
Honourable Member, your time is expired. FF Plus.
Geachte voorsitter, die ou probleem van ons openbare gesondheidsfasiliteite gaan maar net voort. Hierdie komitee is sedert 2019 verskeie openbare hospitale en klinieke reg deur die land besoek en elke keer het ons afgekom op algehele chaos of 'n klein bietjie chaos, maar die feit bly bestaan dat ons openbare fasiliteite in 'n chaotiese toestand is. Die probleme wat ons hier waargeneem het, wissel van lang wagtye, tekort aan beddens, kameras wat buitewerking is, medisyne tekorte, van die plekke is skoon en ander is nie skoon nie, huisbakke wat nie werk nie en 'n 4-bed kraamsaal wat nagenoeg 600 geboortes per maand moet hanteer. Apteke met beperkte spasie en sale wat dringende opgradering benodig is wat ons ervaar en gesien het. When we have seen an ICU 6-bed unit that is insufficient as at least a 22-bed unit is needed. This was only at the Job Tabane Hospital. At the Boy-Katong Community Health Center, it was shocking to see a dental room with a very expensive dental chair that probably have costed millions, but the dental room is not operational. In the pharmacy is a shortage of space to store medication and the facility also faces a water shortage challenge. Patients have complained to us about slow services in waiting areas, files not being available, long waiting hours for collection and medicine, and poor attitude staff. At the Moses Kutani Hospital, the reception and pharmacy waiting area is in need of repairs, and although the committee were told that construction workers were on site busy with upgrade and repairs, we could not see any of them. After inquiring about if when we were informed that they were busy on the roof of the hospital, however, we could not see any construction office on site. The Makwazi Community Health Center were in total chaos, ranging from leaking taps, no medicine and long waiting times. Al hierdie probleme wat daagliks in die openbare sektor ervaar word, is tog 'n duidelike bewys dat die nasionale gesondheidsversekering nie die oplossing vir ons probleme is nie, maar dit gaan sake net vererger. Dankie voorsitter.
Thank you, honourable member. Action SA.
Thank you, Chair. What we're talking about today is an organized oversight visit. But even that oversight visit will show you serious cracks in our health system. Drug shortages, staff shortages, new buildings that are falling apart, clinics that are built in swamps, and there's no accountability. What I ask for is protection for unscheduled oversight visits. When you do those, they reveal a system in crisis. Drug shortages have a profound impact on what happens in our society. When you see young women that say, I'm here for the 3rd month and there are no contraceptives, and we talk about unwanted pregnancies and teenage pregnancies when we cannot provide proper reproductive services. What we saw at Mokwasa was an embattled pharmacist who was near breaking point because she could not do her ethical duty to her patients because of the drug shortages. We see lack of coordination in the province, where some centers have been sanitized and they don't look too bad. But part of the problem in health is that provincialization doesn't work. If we do not make health a national competence, we cannot hold the Minister of Health to account. If it is not a national competence, our oversight visits are not worth the money we spend. If we can't have turnaround times for the fundings that are made and proper consequence management for non-delivery, these problems will continue. Health is in a crisis, and let us stand up to fulfill our obligations to society.
Thank you. ACDP?
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, the ACDP has studied this report, and it is noteworthy that there's been no oversight visit by the committee to the province or even in the previous parliament since it was placed under national administration in terms of Section 100. And that was done in 2018. And obviously the purpose of this visit was to assess improvements in healthcare provisions. Now, there were a number of incidents and there were hospitals such as Costa Hospital that was found to be satisfactory, and the ACDP wishes to thank all those committed staff that work under very, very difficult conditions. Some of the issues that were highlighted were the financial constraints that led to dilapidated buildings, insufficient resources, overcrowding of patients, inadequate records, and the failure and insufficient staff and the failure of record keeping. And the transfer of files was another problem that was also identified. I agree that there should be unscheduled visits, because when one reads this report, one is appalled that the one incident that occurred when the committee arrived at a hospital and there was a baby that was waiting. The baby had been admitted to that facility the day before and was waiting for an ambulance to take it to hospital for obviously urgent medical attention. The ACDP commends the chairperson, Dr. Dlomo, for insisting that in such cases the staff should take an urgently ill baby to hospital. But miraculously an ambulance suddenly appeared and took the baby to hospital. Now that is when the committee is there. Imagine what happens when the committees are not there. We believe far more should be done to improve our health service facilities. I thank you.
Thank you. UDM?
Thank you, Honorable House Chair. For over 30 years, South Africans have been subjected to poor state of the public health care system, and they have been waiting to access quality and equitable health care they deserve. But real and tangible improvements in local clinics and hospitals seems to be far-fetched as the department continues to fail to address the deep-rooted problems plaguing hospitals and clinics across the country, from shortage of essential supplies, infrastructural decay, shortage of medical personnel, insufficient beds in wards like ICU and maternity, to mismanagement of funds and corruption. To begin with, the department should allocate more money on infrastructure development, including essential equipment such as beds. Also, the employment of more doctors is critical to alleviate pressure on staff and improve patient care. As it stands, there are approximately 1,800 unemployed doctors with a doctor-to-patient ratio of just 0.9 per 1,000 people. The UDM calls on the department to introduce an effective system for all hospitals to address long waiting times, such as a more digital system to find folders quicker and a robust recruitment of more healthcare workers and assistant nurses into areas with high demand. This will definitely shorten waiting times and improve the public health service delivery. I thank you.
Thank you. Rise.
No declaration, we support the report.
Thank you. BOSA.
Honourable members, a functional healthcare system is reliant on three variables I'd like to propose. The first is being financial and ability to adequately finance the system. Secondly, it speaks to the question of infrastructure. And I would argue the third is the function of leadership. Now, Honourable Minister and members in this House, we can all speak loudly and boldly about the National Health Insurance and maybe look at that as part of the financing model, but what we cannot deny is that what this report points to is the ecosystem that connects local government, provincial government, and infrastructure build. At Moses Kotane, it was quite clear, if you read the report, about issues of water, the lack of the proper provision of water. Now, Minister Motsoaledi, I went around to see the hospitals. Many of them raised this fundamental question. When a municipality fails, the hospital cannot operate. The patients are impacted. So it's irrelevant how much money we throw in that space, it ends up being a space where, as a failure of leadership and as a failure of infrastructure, healthcare is profoundly impacted. Our decision today collectively was, of course, we can support this report, which as BOSA we will. But I guess the question becomes, are we going to insist on a healthcare reform now for future generations, or we'll just keep talking, tabling reports, accepting them and moving ahead? I want to urge for urgent action. Every hospital and every clinic must be shielded from water losses. Minister Motsoaledi, unless we do that exercise, I can promise you, you might as well shut out half of them. For indeed, water is life, and without it, our healthcare system will itself be on life support if it's not there already. We can't wait, honourable members. Let's act now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. ATM.
No declaration from ATM.
Thank you. Al-Jama.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. Assalamu alaikum. It's going to be short and sweet. Not going to repeat everything that my learned colleagues have said. Northwest Province is in a poor state due to lack of funding, shortage of staff, poor infrastructure, corruption, mismanagement, and lack of due diligence. Historical problems that continues to fester and grow. Take responsibility, ensure proper oversight, funding, infrastructure, and employ capable healthcare workers. I thank you.
Thank you. NCC? PAC? UAT?
No declaration from UAT.
Good. ANC?
Honorable House Chair, the African National Congress supports the oversight report of the Portfolio Committee on Health to the Northwest Province from 8 to 11th of October 2024. The committee visited 6 health facilities to assess their provision of health services, including forensic pathology services, the ex-mine workers project, and how the province addresses the Auditor General's audit outcomes. This was a critical visit and the first since the province was placed under Section 100 National Administration in April 2018. Since exiting administration in July 2022, the committee's observations affirm the significant and commendable interventions to stabilize the governance and health service delivery in the province. One critical achievement includes positive strides towards reducing neonatal and maternal death at Moses Kotane Hospital and Koster Hospital. In the past 2 years, these 2 hospitals never reported any case of neonatal and also maternal cases. This was attributed to the presence of a helipad and a strong leadership of advanced midwives. Such hospitals need to be used as case studies where health professionals share their skills and techniques with other hospitals to achieve such positive maternal outcomes. Despite these challenges, despite these positive developments, numerous challenges were identified, such as water shortages, medicine stockouts, and dilapidated infrastructure with leaks and walls peeling off. There were also challenges regarding the various acting positions and staff shortages observed in all the facilities visited due to moratorium on appointments. To this end, the committee made numerous recommendations that the ANC endorses to close the service delivery gaps, to improve health outcomes and also patient satisfaction and reduce waiting times. It is the African National Congress's firm belief that implementing these recommendations will ensure the successful implementation of the NHI towards the realization of universal health coverage. We are resolved to uphold our constitutional principles of ensuring that health is affordable and also accessible to all as a fundamental human right. Therefore, through recommendations such as expanding healthcare infrastructure, improving medicine supply chain management, investing in EMS, and also enhancing recruitment of healthcare workers, the ANC believes that the Northwest Province can play a critical role in ensuring equitable and high-quality healthcare in the country. This is also in line with the commemoration of the 70th anniversary of Freedom Charter and the ANC's commitment to reducing inequalities and also improving access to health services for all. There are already green shoots of NHI within our health system. The current 570 billion or 8.5% of our GDP spent on our health is a firm basis of rolling out the NHI. We must restructure the core financing system and efficiently reallocate all resources, both human and material, to achieve universal health coverage. The ANC supports this report.
Thank you. I now recognize the Honorable Chief Whip.
Thank you very much, Chair. I move that the report be adopted. Thank you.
The motion is that the report be adopted. Are there any objections?
Yes, MK Party vigorously rejects the report and calls for a division.
With that objection, you call for a division. A division having been called, the bells will be rung for 5 minutes. too high. I'm taking this off. It's too hot. Yeah, I have. Okay, the question before the house. Okay, all right. Yeah. Yeah. No, we'll just do this. For the committee on health, we are going to. No, I still. Each party will tell us the number of members who are present in the House, and then how are they voting in favor of. Yes. I will go here. It's fine. Yes. Yeah. Honorable members, I would like to remind honorable members, can you please take your seats? Honorable members from the MK, can you please take your seats? Honorable members from the MK, Umkhonto wesizwe, at the back. Honorable members, can you please take your seats? I would like to remind honorable members, in accordance with the rules, a manual voting procedure will be used for this division. In order to establish a quorum, I would request the table to confirm that we have the requisite number of members physically present in the chamber to take this decision. Party whips will then be given an opportunity to confirm the number of their members present and indicate if they vote for or against the question. A member who wishes to abstain or vote against the party vote may do so by informing the chair. I have just been informed that we do have a quorum. Having confirmed that we have the quorum, we'll now proceed. The question before the House is that the report of Portfolio Committee on Health be agreed to. Voting will now commence. The doors of the chamber will be locked and members will not be allowed to enter until voting is concluded. Whips, could you confirm the numbers of your members present in the chamber? ANC?
Thank you, Chair. The ANC with 109 support the adoption of the report. Thank you.
Thank you. DA?
Thank you, House Chair. The DA with 63 members in the House votes in favour.
Thank you. MK?
The MK Umbuto ongathengisiyo with 40 members, we vote against.
EFF?
EFF, we are 28 in the House. House Chair, we vote for.
IFP?
The IFP with 12, we supported the report.
PA?
Patriotic Alliance with 6 members voting in favour. Thank you.
FF Plus?
FF Plus with 5 members.
Honourable members, I will request that please speak to your mic because we cannot hear. Can we start from PA?
Patriotic Alliance with 6 members voting in favour. Thank you.
FF Plus?
FF Plus with 5 members voting in favour.
Action SA?
Action SA with 4 members, we are voting in support.
ACDP?
The ACDP has 2 members voting in support. Thank you, Chair.
UDM?
UDM with 2 members in support.
RISE?
RISE 1 member in support.
BOSA?
BOSA with 1 member supports.
ATM?
1 in the House vote against.
Al-Jama?
Al-Jama with 2 members in the House support.
NCC? PAC? UAT?
UAT against.
Good. Good. Is there any other member that wishes to abstain or vote differently to their party? Thank you. The voting session is now closed. The results of the division is as follows.
You have the numbers. You have the numbers. Do you have the numbers? Not yet. Sorry? Okay. Right. You were starting with sound. You have the numbers. So there's no need for them to repeat. Okay, perfect.
Thank you, honourable members. The table staff was still adding the numbers. Abstention is 0. The noes is 42. And the yes is 222. The question is accordingly agreed to. The next item on the order paper is member statement. Does any member of the ANC wish to make a statement?
Yes, Chair.
You may proceed.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and greetings to honorable members. As the African National Congress, we stand with recent events that have been circulating on our social media, and really with great sadness as the African National Congress do not support human rights violations and treatment that has been observed and displayed in the latest violations of human rights. We are speaking of the incidents that took place being perpetrated against young men at a nightclub in Gauteng, Tshwane. This incident took place at an establishment by the name of Mzansi Night Bar. We further take note that these young men are victims. As the African National Congress, we strongly condemn such violent actions that seek to demoralize, that seek to take away the dignity of our young people who go and circulate and enjoy themselves in these establishments. But additionally, we call upon law enforcement, the Human Rights Commission, to take law into its hands. We also say to those who are owners, who are affiliates of such establishments, that it can no longer be that our young people and patrons are living in fear when entering into their establishments. Members of this august House, we must ensure the safety and security of young people, no matter where they go and seek entertainment. And therefore, as the African National Congress, we condemn such gross violations of human rights against young people and against patrons. And therefore, we are calling for immediate action. We are calling for the law to take its place, and we are calling that the perpetrators must be brought to book. We are saying
Honorable
that
member,
we additionally,
your time has expired.
We additionally ask for support to be provided to the victims who have suffered. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. The DA.
Good afternoon, House Chair. House Chair, Nkandla. No, not that Nkandla with a fire pool worth 3.9 million, but our very own Nkandla in Hartswater in the Northern Cape, a forgotten corner of the Francis Baard district, where the only thing flowing is injustice and sewerage, not clean water. Since 2016, this community has been fighting for a basic human right, access to clean running water. Yet their pleas have been met with silence. What is, however, absolutely astounding is that the Pequani municipality somehow found it fitting to erect 800 pit toilets in the area at what could very well be the same cost, if not more, than the infamous fire pool. But wait, it gets better. Not one of these so-called innovative toilets is connected to a water source. Not a single one has a pipe linking the cistern to the toilet. That's right, Speaker. Pequani has reinvented the concept of indoor plumbing without the plumbing. Speaker, the ANC-run Pequani municipality should be hanging their heads in shame. The very people they claim to uplift are being subjected to inhumane conditions. Instead of service delivery, they deliver scandal after scandal, leaving communities to fend for themselves. If there was ever a time for accountability, it is now. Nkandla Pequani
Honorable member,
better.
your time has expired.
The people deserve better, and South Africa deserves better. Thank you, House Chair.
Thank you. The MK.
Thank you, Chair. Sihlalo siyabonga kakhulu njengeqembu lomkhonto wesizwe khonto esifuna ukuyiveza ukuthi abantu bakithi bayibe ngayiqondi kahle indaba yokuthi iGNU ibalimaza kangakanani. Isibonelo salokho ngizokwenza indaba ikakhulukazi le yokungasebenzi okungaqasheki kwabantu. Abantu bakithi ngokujwayelekile abayi-understand lento yokuthi yama-million nama-percent ukuthi isebenza kanjani. Ngizokwenza nje isibonelo. Uma uhlanganisa abantu base-Gauteng bonke, isibalo sabo singaphansi kwabantu abase-South Africa bangasebenzi. Lento iveza ubukhulu nesibalo sabantu base-South Africa bangasebenzi. Okusho ukuthi ngamanye amagama abantu abangasebenzi e-South Africa ziyiwici ngalowo ndlela. Okwesibili, ngifuna ukuveza ukuthi i-GNU ifana newa iqanda lelo ukuthi mawuliphihliza lingaphumi nalutho. I-GNU ke leyo. Okunye engifuna ukuveza ngizama ukuveza ukuthi isimo sibi kangakanani sabantu abangasebenzi eSouth Africa. Okunye ngifuna ukuveza ukuthi ke sekunjalo ke abantu bengasasebenzi kodwa sithola iGNU isisikaza ngo2% wokunyuswa kweVAT kulokho okuhlupheka okunjalo. Ngidlule futhi lapho ngize ekuthenini iGNU ibonakala ibasaba onxiwankulu eSouth Africa. Esikhundleni sokuthi balwisane nabantu abacontrole intengo yamalahle.
Honorable member, your time has expired.
Oh, okay.
The ANC.
Thank you, Honorable House Chair. The African National Congress moves without notice that the House should do the following. Notes with deep sadness the passing of the South African music icon and actor Sutukazi Akhosi at the age of 64 on Thursday, the 13th of February, after a battle with cancer. Acknowledges that Sutu became known as one of Africa's top voices, but she was also a talented actress under the guidance of legendary mentor Gibson Kente. Remembers also that she performed around the world, including in the United States, United Kingdom, Germany, and other countries, and also joined the United States tour of The Lion King, where she played the role of Rafiki. We also recall that throughout her 40-year career, Akhosi worked with many well-known artists, including Kaifa Semenya, Letta Mbulu, Jonas Gwangwa, Miriam Makeba, and Hugh Masekela. Also understands that our powerful voice and message of unity made her beloved figure in South African music, and conveys the deepest condolences to the families and colleagues of Sutukazi Akhosi in the entertainment industry. Thank you.
Thank you. EFF. Yeah, it's okay.
Thank you, Chair. Imeko yendlela yomhlaba esuka eThedi kwaJo R61 nasemchabe engena kwilali zika Ward 17, 18 no19 zimbi kakhulu ingakumbi eyakwa Ward 18 kwilali zaseLower Ncoga emahlathini kunomadamba kwaChotho apho kukho iPrimary schools ezintandathu kunye neHigh school ezimbini. Le ndlela yagqityela ukulungiswa kwiminyaka emihlanu eyadlulayo nangoku disaster ngo2021 yachaphazeleka ayizange yahoyo. Kwezi veki ziphelileyo abantwana besikolo kunye nootishala abakwazanga ukuya esikolweni. Andithethi ke ngabo bafuna uncedo lwemapolisa, ikliniki, iambulances nokuya ezidolophini abakwazi ukuphuma, iimoshwari azikwazi ungena abantu bahleli nezidumbe ezindlini. Oko izikolo esiphayana iFalteni silinde uprincipal. Principal icandidates azifuna ukuthatha iposition ngenxa yemeko yendlela. Kudala abantu bale ndawo becela uncedo lwemeya noloceba, akukho mntu ubahoyayo ngurhulumente weANC ke lowo. Endaweni yokuba babahoye abantu bathe xa bezifunela uncedo bagrogriswa bathukwa kusithiwa ziimembers zeEFF. Kodwa akayisothusi lonto, sizawubancedisa ukuba bafumane indlela. Abo bagrogrisa abantu funeka bayazi biconstitution yale country allows abantu ukubana ngaba bangene nako uphuna umbutho abawuthandayo. Sicela ukuba uminister weKogta kunye no-rural development ne-transport benze umsebenzi wabo, ne-ad hoc committee leyayidila ne-disaster ibuyiswe. Inkosi.
Thank you. Before I call on the other, can I remind members that this is the item for member statements, not motions. So when you read, you must then understand which one you are. I'm not referring to the EFF, but I'm just saying that I'm reminding members that we are not on motions. The IFP.
Honourable Chairperson, the township economy has the potential to change the lives of the citizens.
Honorable member, can you please speak to your mic? We can't hear you.
The township economy has the potential to change the lives of the citizen and contribute to the economic growth in the country. Last year, Honorable Speaker, spaza shops made headlines for all the wrong reasons. Honorable Speaker, the IFP raised concern about the dangers of food sold by unregistered foreign-owned spaza shops and called for urgent intervention through regulations and inspections. Therefore, we acknowledge and appreciate the Minister of COGTA COGTA's efforts to implement the regulations that ensure compliance and closure, thereby mitigating the risk of exposure to products hazardous to human health. South Africa is losing approximately 178 billion rand on its GDP every year to its illicit economy. One contributing factor found in spaza shops is smuggling of secret products. Honorable Speaker, the simple reason is to avoid paying tax and duties. A recent study revealed that South Africa loses 8 billion rand in tax revenue given the current growth of the illicit cigarette trade. For years, SARS has tried to implement strategic programs to restrain revenue leakage in the formal sector by establishing crime syndicate. As the IFP
Honorable member,
support
your time is expired.
And call for the whole government to join in the fight against this prohibited
Honorable member, your time has expired. ANC.
Thank you, Honorable House Chair. The ANC applauds Charlotte Maxeke Academic Hospital in making history in February 2025 by becoming the first health facility in Gauteng to perform microclip implants. This procedure is a minimally invasive treatment to mend leaking hearts. The procedure's key benefits include drastically reduced recovery times, often just 1 or 2 days post-insertion, making it a game changer for elderly or high-risk mitral regurgitation patients who are unsuitable candidates for open heart surgery. With the availability through academic hospitals and the ongoing tracking of patients' outcomes, the pioneering therapy is set to transform the treatment landscape of mitral regurgitation in South Africa. The revolutionary procedure that is hospital conducted between 3 to 4 February 2025, aimed at treating several regurgitations, marks a significant advancement in minimal invasive heart valve therapy, now accessible to public hospitals in Gauteng. This procedure is but an example of many inroads in the health sector system through collaboration. With the
Honorable member, your time is expired.
Thank you very much,
BOSA.
House Chair.
BOSA. BOSA. DA.
I rise today to highlight the importance of considering the needs of Muslim communities during the holy month of Ramadan. As the holy month of Ramadan commenced on 2nd March 2025, I urge the Minister of Electricity to engage with ESCOM and the Minister of Corporate Governance to adjust the load shedding and load reduction schedules to accommodate the needs of Muslim communities across the country. During this holy month, Muslims will need to prepare meals during specific times before sunrise and sunset. It is essential that we ensure a stable supply of electricity during these critical hours to enable them to adequately prepare for pre-fast and breaking fast times. Furthermore, access to clean water is crucial during Ramadan. I call on the Minister of Water and Sanitation to ensure that our water supply systems are functioning optimally to provide Muslim communities with a reliable source of clean water for praying, cooking, drinking, and hygiene purposes. Let us work together to ensure that our communities can observe the holy month of Ramadan with dignity and without unnecessary hardship. Thank you.
Thank you. UDM.
Siyabulela sekela sihlalo. Thina siphakamela ukuthetha ngalento kaMinister weCocta ozama ukwenza iCommission of Inquiry kuphandwa ukubhubha kwabakhwetha eMpuma Koloni. Sithi thina ewe nakubeni siyithatha ingqalelo nje elinyathelo makuqinisekiswe ukuthi i-traditional leaders neenkosi zidlala indima ebambekayo apha kuba ngabona abantu balaziyo nabalilandelayo isiko. Kutsawugqiba kususwe these illegal initiation schools, provide training and regulation for amakhankatha. Londo idibanisa neengcibi phakathi ukulungiselelwe ukuthi umbiyinge othathwa ingcibi ungabi mninzi kupheliswe lento ba ingcibi iphinde belikhankatha babantwana bahoyeki nokunxila kweengcibi namakhankatha ephondweni kusawugqiba kujongwe nezindawo ziyingxaki zifana neAlfred Nzo ne-OR Tambo region. Asoze sikwazi ukwenziwa zonto ke inkosi zingadlalanga indima ekhokelayo kungaziswa abantu abangazinto ngelisiko. Inkosi.
Thank you. ANC.
Thanks, House Chair. Recently we had all witnessed what essentially can be termed treasonous behavior by the likes of AfriForum and Solidarity, who have spread misinformation of white...
Who are not here.
Honorable Member, can you
here.
please speak closer to the mic?
Thanks, House Chair. Recently, we had all witnessed what essentially can be termed treasonous behavior by the likes of AfriForum and Solidarity, who have spread misinformation of white genocides and are lobbying by the President of the United States for the interest of the white Afrikaners. These groups believe incorrectly that laws that seek to redress the untold discrimination against the black majority, such as the Expropriation Act, aims to indiscriminately seize of confiscate their land. Laws and policies that are aimed to level the playing field cannot be seen as an oppression considering centuries of systematic exploitation of the black people in every phase of their lives through segregations of law and practices. In 2022, the World Bank classified South Africa as the most unequal country in the world and listed race, the legacy of apartheid, a missing middle class, and highly unequal land ownership. As the measure drivers, about 10% of the population control 80% of the wealth. This is an unacceptable situation. Democracy may...
Honorable Member, your time is expired.
Thank you, House Chair.
Thank you. MK.
Honorable Chair, the MK Party is deeply concerned about the reckless manner in which the coalition government has handled the deployment of our soldiers in the DRC. These brave men and women were sent. These brave women and men and women were sent as reinforcement, yet they were ill-equipped and poorly supported, left to face heavily armed rebels without the resources they need to protect themselves. South Africa has a responsibility to contribute to regional stability, but under this incompetent government, executed. Instead of strengthening peace efforts and
the GNU has turned this deployment into a death trap. Reports suggest that some of soldiers may have been captured, yet this government remains silent. We must also ask, why is it that only 3 out of the 15 SADC countries have deployed troops to the DRC? Where are the others? Why has this GNU government allowed South African soldiers to be sacrificed while most of the region watches from the sidelines? This is not peacekeeping.
Honourable Member, your time has expired. EFF.
Thank you, House Chair. The President and Commander-in-Chief of the Economic Freedom Fighters, President Julius Selo Malema, celebrated his 44th birthday on Monday, on the 3rd of March 2025. We recognize that the President Malema has contributed immensely to South Africa, Africa, and the world to advance radical and leftist politics. Because of his fearless and decisiveness, he has been at the forefront of a revolutionary movement of economic freedom in our lifetime as a recognized leading figure in the world. We see him in the same light and spirit with Steve Biko, Thomas Sankara, Patrice Lumumba, Amika Cabral, and many more fearless Africans. His humanitarian efforts in ensuring that the political party he leads is always at the forefront of restoring the dignity of Africans. Yesterday, Commander-in-Chief and President, he celebrated his birthday with the dejected masses and children of Tembisa in Gauteng, where he contributed 200,000 to the cause. The President of EFF has played an immense role in unifying Africans and advocated for Black people's economic freedom. We wish him long life, success, and enduring fight spirit until we achieve economic freedom.
Mandla. ANC.
Thanks, Chair. The ANC mourns the passing of the country's first Black female nuclear scientist, Senamile Manasango, on Sunday, 9 February 2025. The 37-year-old, who many South Africans thought as the queen of science, was a beacon of hope for many young people, especially women. Masango became the first Black woman to be part of the research team working at the European Organization for Nuclear Research. She also became the chair of the Research and Development Committee of the Nuclear Energy Corporation of South Africa, and a research team leader representing SA at the BRICS Youth Energy Agency, just to name the few. She was recognized by the South African news publication Mail and Guardian as one of the country's top 200 scientists under age 35, and was honored with the International Women in Science Award, recognizing her profound impact on the scientist community. Senamile, a trailblazer who set out to inspire young women, established a foundation to encourage young women to pursue education and career in science. The challenges faced by young Black women were of special interest to her. It is for that reason that the ANC believes that her tireless effort to promote science
Honourable Member,
education will be deeply missed.
The recent events in the Eastern DRC have exposed the dire state of the SA and ACDP. Years of underfunding, misspending, the failure to implement the Defence Review 2015 have severely impacted on our combat readiness, leaving the SA and ACDP with minimal air capability and no close air support. This contributed to the SA and ACDP, the main foreign force in the SAMI DRC mission, being overrun on January the 25th after intense battles at Saki and Goma Airport at the...
Honourable Member, can you please speak to your mic?
After intense battles at Saki and the Goma Airport in the DRC. Completely encircled by M23 rebels, our troops cannot move out of their defensive bases and have now to rely on the goodwill of M23 rebels to obtain rations. critically wounded soldiers took 31 days to reach proper medical care at one military hospital in Tabatswane. The most recent Joint Standing Committee report also indicated that the President did not comply with the time frame to give notice to Parliament of the deployment. We cannot risk a single South African life more to be lost on foreign soil until a comprehensive reassessment of the need for us to be there is done, and until our soldiers can be properly equipped, trained, and fully supported for the type of conflict they face. The price is simply too high.
Thank you. ANC.
The ANC welcomes the government's intervention to launch a 500 million sponsorship support fund within the next 2 weeks with the aim to boost local small businesses in need of funding. This initiative was announced by the Department of Small Business Development on Sunday in the wake of the February 28 deadline for registration of sponsorships and food handling outlets during a media briefing in Pretoria. The fund aims to achieve economics of scale by linking sponsorships and food handling outlets to buying groups for bulk purchasing, build business capacity through training, and support to improve shop operations. It will comprise of funds from the Department of Small Business Development. We're talking about 150 million here, and the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition equals to 350 million. The ANC also welcomes the plan by the department to roll out a multidisciplinary outreach program. The purpose of the outreach program is to bring government services closer to the people through disseminating information on community convenience shops and support offerings. The ANC believes that small businesses are vital for economic growth and job creation. I thank you.
Thank you. RISE Mzansi.
I have on several occasions addressed the dangers of betting and gambling, an industry that has largely been left to its own devices. As a result, South Africans have spent over 1 trillion rand on gambling and betting last year. Unless we urgently introduce regulations to curb this industry, and particularly the advertisement of betting and gambling companies, these numbers will only grow further. Betting and gambling advertisements are everywhere, on highway billboards, on television during sports matches, on social media, and more concerningly, on foldable desks donated to schools in need. It is unacceptable that our children are being turned into walking billboards for such a harmful industry. We call upon the Minister of Basic Education to explain how she could allow our children to not only be explicitly exposed to such advertisement, but also to become walking advertisements for gambling. The minister must commit to keep gambling out of our schools. Over the last few weeks, we have engaged with several stakeholders in the gambling sector to ascertain the extent of the problem as well as possible solutions. To that end, we also call upon the Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition to investigate the staggering growth of the gambling and betting sector. And I must conclude by saying that as the US is withdrawing the paper fund, we can get the money from the gambling industry as a form of a sin tax. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable members, that concludes member statements. Are there any ministerial responses? Minister Mtswaledi, we'll start with Minister Mtswaledi, Minister Mchunu, Minister Mtsecha, Minister Ndabeni, Minister Mantashe. Okay, I will note. Minister Majotina. The one for, no one come. Second. Minister Hlabisa, Minister Kwahube. I want the one for transport. Yeah, it's how much now? Twaledi, Majodin, Mantashe, Mkuni, Hlabisa, Ndabeni, Kwahube. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 7.
Honorable
We'll
Chair.
start with Minister Mtsoaledi.
Honourable Chair, point of order, please.
Yes, Honourable Member.
You did not call us out for our statement. Thank you.
Okay, I would ask that you consult maybe with Honourable Swart, since he is the whip for the smaller parties, and there is a rotation, so I'm not sure whether maybe you were part of the rotation this time. Thank you. Minister Mtsoaledi.
Thank you, Chair. I am standing to confirm the celebration by the Honourable Member.
Honourable Minister, can you please take your seat? There's a point. Honourable Makaula.
Ngibuka sangathi ungikhohliwe nami as a minister.
Honourable Makaula. Honourable Mtsoaledi, you can continue.
Thank you, Chairperson. I'm indeed standing up to confirm the celebration from Honourable Tleko about the pioneering procedure done at Charlotte Maxeke Academic Hospital. But because it's my job to clarify you, I just want to add that this procedure is not done for damaged valves as we usually do. The mitral valve is the valve which were at high school biology. The teacher used to call it bicuspid valve. This is what we're talking about. But the procedure is done when it's incompetent because your heart will have ballooned. This is not the only pioneering work that is done in our public hospitals because we usually undermine them. I want to invite our main folk here in this house to know that at Steve Biko Academic Hospital, we've got another pioneering procedure called targeted alpha therapy with actinium-225 done by Professor Sateche. I'm standing here in front of you to tell you that 40% of his patients are referred from private hospitals to go there for him because private hospitals don't have this procedure. But you'll never read that in any newspaper in the country. And I'm here standing in front of you to tell you that 50 of his patients since 2017 when he started this procedure were coming from outside country and a majority referred by European countries. So let's stop undermining ourselves. What we lack in the public hospitals is not skills and knowledge. What we lack is infrastructure, as Honorable Maimani has said. Infrastructure and equipment. That is why I won't rest in pushing Treasury to give us money to put up this infrastructure and equipment, because the skills and knowledge we have in abundance, even though you'll never see it. In the papers, you will see when something goes wrong at Helen Joseph. You will never see if everything goes right at Steve Biko Academic Hospital. Thank you, Honourable Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. Minister Mkunu.
Thank you very much, House Chair. I stand to respond to the Honourable Member Chauke on the incident at Zanzo nightclub. Just to welcome the statement that she made and further say there is a Congolese national who has been arrested on the matter, 41 years old. But there are 8 other suspects that police are chasing after. And once there is a breakthrough on these matters, we'll inform the public. But it is a matter that we're taking very seriously indeed. Now, I've got another statement, Chair. That one is from Mutaung and Ngola, the honorables. First, just to say that we welcome the statement that they made with regard to the delegation of AfriForum that went overseas and solidarity. Just to confirm that there are 4 case dockets that have been opened on the matter, 2 by various groups, and the last 2 by individuals. And the cases are being handled by CATS. There is cases against the state, and they are being taken very seriously. The investigations are at an initial stage, and they are being investigated with collaboration of the NPA. And once they have taken a decision whether to prosecute or not, we will then inform you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Minister Majodin.
Enkosi kakhulu Sihlalo. Sihlalo, let me wish all the Muslim community a good Ramadan month. Having noted what was raised by honorable members from the Muslim community, I have already sent emails to all premiers, to all district mayors, as well as local mayors, that if they are doing maintenance or they have water shedding in their space, they must consider to accommodate the Muslim community between 17:30 in the evening to 19:30, as well as in the morning between 3:30 a.m. to 5:30 a.m. because this is the time when the Muslim community needs a lot of water. I've already sent that. As you are speaking here, I was sending that message because we work very well with all premiers. On the next matter on Polokwane, indeed there have been challenges in Polokwane. What we are doing as the department, we have funded Polokwane through the Regional Bulk Infrastructure Grant, where they are going to build a regional bulk waste water treatment, because Polokwane is growing rapidly. The economy is growing now in Polokwane, as well as the population. Polokwane is aiming to be a metro, and therefore it must have enough water infrastructure. So we are assisting them, or as well as through the Olifants Ebenezer project that have already started. But to augment what they already have there is to give them more boreholes to augment the water whilst we are still on the first phase of the Olifants Ebenezer. There is also a dam called the DeWoop Dam. It is going to give additional water. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Minister Mantashe.
Honorable Chairperson, thank you very much. I want to start with my friends from MKP. They are my prodigal sons. They have no program, they have no identity, and therefore gasping for breath. Now, as a result of that, every problem with them is fresh air. They want to breathe it with no suggested solutions. That's where the shortcoming of having no program and no identity comes from. For solutions, unemployment is a national program that is receiving attention. And we're all aware that unless we grow our economy, unemployment is not going to be resolved from the air or out of wishful thinking. So the investment must be in the economy. Let me go past that. I want to give them an advice on the budget. The budget will be presented on the 12th of March. Don't put the cart before the horse. Okay? Take your cart, put it behind the horse, It will come on the 12th, and when you see that budget, don't look for 2% VAT, look for the budget in its entirety, look at the cost items, because that is what constitutes service to the people. Let me leave that. I'm talking now as the Minister of Finance, must listen carefully. Now I want to conclude by referring to the issue of AfriForum. AfriForum is an anti-transformation program driven by the hope that apartheid will come back. It's a mirage, and that mirage must be confronted by all South Africans, irrespective of color, because it is going to hurt the country before we recover. This is not an attack on the ANC on Ramaphosa as they announced. It is an attack on the country. And everybody must be concerned. We must mobilize our people to confront right-wing mobilization that is emerging in the country. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Ndabeni.
Enkosi sihlalo womhlangano. Masibulele kusihlalo we-Portfolio Committee on the statement that acknowledges the work that has been done by the portfolios responsible for business, DTIC, and small business development. Mhlalanga I want to thank all the spaza shop owners that heeded the President's call by ensuring that they go and register. When we introduced this intervention, we did so because we appreciate the challenges that small businesses, especially spaza shops, are faced with when it comes to compliance. That's why we said some of this money will go to assisting those that are South African owned by women, youth, and people and disabled peoples that are in the rural and township areas of our country. Those that are not compliant, because there's lots of matters or issues that are considered when we are looking at the compliance, and they are the ones that we're going to assist. The detail goes as follows: 40,000 rands, which is a grant for stock, 10,000 rands for business development support, which talks to training, and then an additional 50,000 rands that goes to refurbishing the structure, because it is important that the buildings are properly built. We are doing this in order to make sure that we reclaim the township and rural economy, to bring it back to the hands of the South Africans, but most importantly to ensure that we build competitive spaza shops that can in turn create jobs in the people that are in their communities, those that are prepared to trade with us. Ngiyabonga mhlali ngaphambili.
Thank you very much. Minister Kwahube.
Thank you very much, House Chair. Honorable Ghana raises an important point around the regulation that govern operations in the gambling companies. Obviously, this work falls within the ambit of DTIC, and I'm sure he can raise that with them. However, on the issue around the Department of Basic Education partnering up with corporate partners, I want to say to the members in this House, the reality is that that's something that we cannot shy away from. The 13.5 million learners, the 24,000 schools, and the kind of budget that we have in the system, we simply cannot meet the demand. Therefore, we have to partner with private partners. However, where I agree with the honorable member and the criticism around how some corporate partners advertise with products in schools is that we must have a policy that says, how do we manage the kind of branding and advertisements that happen in schools in a way that doesn't harm the learners but assists us with the gap. But I must point out that the future of partnerships, particularly corporate partnerships, is here, because ultimately government cannot meet the demand that our schools and our learners have. And I take the point, though, around branding and protecting learners in particular from harmful branding exercises. Thank you.
Thank you. Minister Hlabisa.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I want to confirm that COGTA together with all interministerial departments, we are going to ensure that not again we experience the death of our children through the foodborne illnesses as we experienced last year. As we have been driving this program, we want to ensure that this economy is fully regulated and registered. We want to appreciate all those who responded, and we want to call the spaza shop owners who did not register not to break the law, but what they must do, they must go through the process, register, once approved, and open, because it will be not necessary that some people eventually get arrested because they are breaking the law. And secondly, with regards to the initiation culture, since December to last week, we have engaged all structures in Eastern Cape. It cannot be over 8 years. 371 boys have died. 110 have been amputated. It cannot be allowed to go unchecked. This time around, we want to ensure the slogan, abahambe bephila, bebuye bephila. Any recklessness in the initiation schools will be taken into account. There will be consequence management, but initiation culture is supported and must be promoted, must be taken from one generation to the other on condition that it does not result to death of our children. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much. Honorable Ministers, unfortunately, we cannot take all ministers today. There's only a limitation of responses of 7 ministers. So I tried to at least mix that we get different responses from different ministers. But we appreciate the fact that you are here today and you were ready to respond to all the member statements that were given today. But it is unfortunate that we cannot take all of you with responses. We can only take a maximum of 7 ministers. So those who did not get an opportunity, maybe then you can write to those members in response and give them the responses that you would have wanted to give to the House. But that concludes the ministerial responses, and we go to the 6th order. The Secretary will now read the 6th order.
Debate on International Mother Language Day.
I will now recognize the Honorable Deputy Minister of Basic Education.
Ngiyabonga lo sesihlalweni. Ngibingelele malunga onke lahloniphekile esishamthetho sase Sikhwahlane. Nonke ngiyanibingelela. Ngithanda ukucala lenkulumo ngemavi lanemandla lakhishwe ngibabe Rholihlahla Mandela nakakhuluma ngenzima ledlalwa lolimi ekuchumaneni kanye nekwakha kuvisisa lokungikona mbamba uthi nangabe ukhuluma nemuntu ngelulwimi laluvisisako lokho khulumako kuya enhloko nangabe ukhuluma naye ngelulwimi lakhe lwasekhaya lalumunyebeleni lokho kuya enhlitiyweni kusho ngibaba Mandela mhlali ngaphambili lulwimi akusisetshendiswa nje sekuchumana kuphela lusitsha semasiko sekutivisisa kanye nekuchumana Mongameli welive babe Matamela Ramaphosa enkulumeni yakhe bunjalo besive weminyaka yamashumi lamabili nemashumi lamabili nesihlanu macondzana nelilumi utsite singuhulumeni wasesikhwahlane sitawuqinisekisa ukuthi wonke umntwana uyawufunza ngekuvisisa emabangeni laphasi ngamhla timfica enyangeni yabhimbidvwane ngeminyaka welishumi nemfica nemashumi lasiphohlongo nesiphahlongo Rafikul wemasulumane waseBangladesh wabhalela mabhalano womhlabuhlangene babe Kofi Annan ancoma ukuthi akube khona lusuku lwamhlabuhlangene lokubungata lusuku lwelilwimi lwasebeleni noma ilwimi lasekhaya injongo yalokuvikeleka kugcinwa nekuvikela tilwimi emhlabeni wonke lencwadi ibhalwe ngobe kwaba nesigigaba ngendlovana ngeminyaka welishumi nemfica nemashumi lasihlanu nakubili eBangladesh lapho bantwana babulawa khona babulawa ngoba bakhankasela kufundziswa ngelilwimi lasekhaya nathi ke sisikhwahlane azange sitibeke phasi sambhalela mhlabuhlangene ukuthi bantwa bethu babulawa mhla tilishumi nemfica nemashumi lasikhombisa nesithupha ngelishumi nesithupha kunhlaba lapho Bonsamo Lukhuni babulala abantwana labanyenti kanye na Hector Peterson kodwa indzaba yasesikhwahlane ayizange ithathwe ngoba nanoma abantwa bethu bebalwela kungafundziswa ngelulwimi lemcinzeteli longekhatsi kwelive kodwa balwela kufundziswa ngelulwimi lemchamuki lwimi lankosatana kungako mhlabuhlangene wathatha indzaba yaseBangladesh wabeka lusuku lemashumi lamabili nakunye kundlovana kutsi kube lisuku lokubungata lulwimi lasekhaya ngenxa yalokwendeka eBangladesh ngeminyaka welishumi nemfica nemashumi lasihlanu nakubili mhlali ngaphambili budlelwane emkhatsini wemntfwana nemfundzisi buncike kakhulu elimini lakhe lalikhulumako lolisetshenziswa ekhaya nekuchumana kuchumana kubaleke kakhulu phakathi kwemfundzisi kanye nemfundzi ngelulumi lakhe lokho kuletha lithemba ekwakheni lithemba nangabe umfundzisi achumana nemfundzi ngelulumi lakhe kuletha kuvisisa kanye nenhlonipho kungako wena losesihlalweni bantwana labafundziswe ngelulwimi lwakubo kuto tonke tigaba kubonakala kungathi bahlakaniphe kwenca labafundzisa ngelulwimi lebachamuki ilwimi lebatseshi lulwimi lwasekhaya lubaluleke ngekuthuthukisa kutethemba kuvisisa kutati imvelaphi yakho emasiko kanye nekuthuthuka umuntu lofundze letinye tilwimi ngelulwimi umuntu ufundza letinye tilwimi ngelulwimi lwasekhaya losesihlalweni ngqongqoshe welitiko letemfundvo kumabanga laphasi wamametela nyakenye enyangeni endlovana kuthi kulomnyaka losikuwo umnyaka wamashumi mabili nemashumi lamabili nakuhlanu kutawetfulwa emasu etilwimi temdzabu kuto tonke tikolo emabangeni kulibanga lesine leletfulo lakhe libuke tilwimi tetibalo buciko nebuchwepheshe kude kutsi kufundziswa kwelulwimi lwasekhaya kuti ilwimi temdzabu kukhushulele kulibanga lesine kuthuthukiswa kwemagama laqinisekile kuvunywe ngomtimba longamele tilimi esikhwahlane litiko ke lona lilungisele emasu ekufundzisa eminyaka kulibanga lesine etfundweni tetibalo buciko nebuchwepheshe kuto tonke tilimi temdzabu esikhwahlane tincwadzi tebuchwepheshe tithuthukisiwe kunelikomiti lelihleli libuke tonke tilimi tendzabuko esikhwahlane kutsi akuthuthukise letilimi tibuke konke lokukutibalo nebuchwepheshe Litiko letemfundo nemabanga laphasi luyachubeka kubekela kwimfundo ukuthi kubalulekile ukuthi litiko lona lichubeke nekuheha bafundzisi betilimi temdzabo lokho kutawenda ukuthi kube khona kulingana emkhatsini webantu basesikhwahlane tilimi tihlonishwe tonke ngalokufanako wonke umfundzi abe nelitfuba lekufundza ngalokulinganako kungabi netilimi letithathelwa phasi kube ngasi kunaletingcono kunaletinye. Umfundzate wefundza lushaka ubeka etulu bafundzisi labafundzela kufundzisa tifundvo temabanga laphasi kubukelwa lamalunga laphasi kusukela kumabanga laphasi etikolweni tethu kumele kubuyeketwe litiko letemfundo lephakeme kufuna libuyekete futhi liqinisekise ukuthi labafundzela kufundzisa bafunze lokho nangekufundzisa ngetilwimi temdzabo buciko nebuchwepheshe lokhu kwentela ukuthi bafundzi bangatitfoli badidekile ngoba bangafundziswanga kufundzisa ngelilimi lwasekhaya. Umgomo mthetho locikicwe ngumongameli ngenyanga yaLweti kulomnyaka lofile ufike ngesikhathi lesifanele ucedza kungalingani emathuba avulekele bonke bafundzi ngalokulinganako. Umgomo mthetho lo ucacisa kahle indzaba yelulwimi lasekhaya futhi usiniketa litfuba lekulungisa lokho lokungalungiswanga ngalesikhathi singena kundzandvo yelinyenti ngoba besimhlungu ngekufundiswa kwelilimi lebacinzeteli labahleli phakathi nesikhwahlane sabona kungathi kungcono kubuka lilwimi lwankosatana kanzi-ke sitibambelele ekufundziseni tilimi temdzabo. Sibonga lendlu yesishayamithetho ukuthi iluphasisile lo mthetho lo mthetho lobukene nokuchibiyela lokho lobekusele nakungenwa kumshayamithetho. Mongameli nangqongqoshe siyabonga kakhulu ngoba babonile ukuthi kubalulekile ukuthi lo mthetho uphumeleliswe futhi lo mthetho sichibiyelo uphumelelise ufundziswe nasetikolweni. Lo mthetho lo wenda ukuthi i-freedom charter lo lekubitile kuphelele lokusho ukuthi ngalo mthetho losubita ukuthi nangaboleka kule belungu limi sisibhela yenda ukuthi sithi sekuphelele lokusho ukuthi esikhwahlane sekutawuphela lendvo ukuthi kungathi kunemaveli amabili kunalabanye labangcono nalabanye labahluphekile bantfwana basesikhwahlane batawufana bonke kanzi-ke nemthetho we-freedom charter uthi umnyango wemfundo sewuvuleke lesichibiyelo mthetho sicedza kungalingani sithuthukisa idemocracy yasekhaya esikhwahlane lohleli ngaphambili ngiyabonga.
Thank you. The next speaker is the Honorable Nchaba.
Ngibingelela usihlalo nendlu amalungu onke eParliament.
Yes, girl.
Akukuningi engizokhuluma kodwa nje thina njenge MK sesikhathele ukulalela inganekwane. Indaba yensumansumane esikhathele yona. Ilokhu esizokucela kakhulukazi ushayamthetho seParliament nabaholi. Siyacela kakhulu ukuthi ke kusetshenziswe ulimi lwebele ngoba lapho siphuma khona asizizelanga lana sithunyiwe emasifike emakhaya sikhuluma ngolimi lwebele noma ngabe luphi udlanga kodwa singafika lawo sesithole sikufunayo abasasiza ukuthi sithini sesiyagwitiza sesikhuluma izinto esingavumelananga nazo ngabo masabancengile size siqashe imoto siyobathutha sibabuyisele ngoba sincenga amavoti kodwa mase benivotele anisabazi nokuthi bawobani. Siyacela ukuthi ulimi lebele sisetshenziswe kakhulu noma ngabe uliphi uhlanga. Ngisho abamhlophe emabefika endaweni zasemakhaya babhidilisha ukuthi bakhuluma isiZulu noma bakhulumele lo hlanga ngoba suke befuna ivoti. Siyacela ke ukhulumeni ukuthi ulimi lebele ke sisetshenziswe kakhulu. Yebo akufundwe ngesingisi kwenzela ukuthi abamhlophe basiphambi njengoba beniphamba nje benimuca izwe lene ezandleni bese niyabavumela. Kodwa nje asisukuvumela lokho. Ingane zethu azazi ngemvelaphi yethu. Mhlambe babuntuli nje ngizosho wangakithi. Mhlambe mangakubuza baba kakhokho wakho nje umazi. Abaningi mangababuza obaba bokhokho babo lababazi. Kodwa mangabuza la uMr Kruger nginaye ekomdini mhlambe ngakutshela. Ngisho ngaye ngoba nginaye ekomdini la kwa small business. Baningi abangababuza ngemvelaphi labangayazi. Asebesebenzisa kakhulu ulimi labamhlophe. Yikho ke niphambeka nje kodwa lelizwe solisebenzela kuze bephakade thina umkhonto wesizwe. Ngoba yizwe lethu izwe lobabamkhulu. Salijulukela abadijulukela. Sazi ngishamanci wabo. Manganibuza ngamunye ukuthi babamkhulu akwafela ngeke ungitshele. Uzongitshela enye into ngoba usasetshenziswa kakhulu wathengeka. Noma ngabe izindlu zodaka kodwa kusekhaya. Kusekhaya la.
Nyabonga. The next speaker is the Honourable Christians. Honourable Christians, just take your seat for one moment there, please. I have a hand to my left. Honourable Member, why do you want to be recognised?
Order, Chair, you failed to recognize that it was Mam Chaba's maiden speech. You must do your job correctly, please.
Thank you, Honourable Member. If the table staff were informed beforehand, I would have alerted the House to that. But nonetheless, thank you for alerting us. Honourable Christians, please continue.
Geachte voorsitter, onderwys is die kern van enige nasie wat gelykheid, geleenthede en vooruitgang nastreef. Tog worstel Suid-Afrika steeds met 'n onderwysstelsel wat ten spyte van sy beste bedoelings dikwels ons kinders faal. Een van die noodsaaklikste uitdagings wat ons in die gesig staar, is die taal van onderrig in ons skole. Dit is nie bloot 'n akademiese debat nie. Dit is 'n saak van maatskaplike geregtigheid, kognitiewe ontwikkeling en nasionale identiteit. Suid-Afrika is 'n land van merkwaardige taaldiversiteit. Ons het 12 amptelike tale. En elkeen dra die ryk kulturele erfenis van ons mense. Tog word hierdie diversiteit in ons klaskamers dikwels stil gemaak. Die oorheersing van Engels en Afrikaans as onderrigmediums het 'n stelsel geskep waar die meerderheid van ons kinders geleer word in 'n taal wat hulle nie volkome verstaan nie. Die gevolge hiervan is verwoestend. Navorsing deur professor Kathleen Jeug van die Universiteit...
Honourable Christians, just take your seat for a moment. I have a hand to my left.
Yes, thanks, Chairperson. We struggle to follow the debate because the interpreters are not working. So can this be attended to, please?
Thank you. Can technical services please assist so that we ensure that the interpretation services are on point? Honourable Christians, please continue.
Navorsing deur professor Kathleen Jeug van die Universiteit van Suid-Afrika skets 'n ontnigterende prentjie. Kinders wat in 'n taal onderrig word wat nie hul moedertaal is nie, sukkel om geletterdheid en is meer geneig om skool vroeg te verlaat. Dit is nie net 'n Suid-Afrikaanse probleem nie, dit is 'n wêreldwye realiteit. UNESCO het lank reeds gepleit vir moedertaalonderrig, veral in vroeë skooljare, omdat die bewyse duidelik is. Kinders wat in hul moedertaal leer, presteer akademies beter, ontwikkel sterker kognitiewe vaardighede en is meer geneig om hul skoolloopbaan te voltooi. In haar boodskap tydens UNESCO Silwer Jubilee viering van Internasionale Moedertaaldag het minister Gwarube die noodsaaklikheid van bevordering van moedertaal-gebaseerde tweetalige onderrig herhaal. Sy het beklemtoon dat sulke bevordering aansienlik belegging, onderwysopleiding en daadwerklike optrede verg, maar dat die langtermyn voordele leerders en die land sal transformeer. Maar kom ons ons kyk verder as net die statistiek en besin oor wat die werklikheid is en wat dit vir ons kinders sal beteken. Taal is nie bloot 'n kommunikasiemiddel nie. Dit vorm die basis van denke en begrip. Wanneer 'n kind onderrig word in 'n taal wat hulle verstaan, kan hulle krities dink, probleme oplos en hulself met selfvertroue uitdruk. Professor Vilakazi Nomlomo van die Universiteit van die Wes-Kaapland het bewys dat moedertaalonderrig in die vroeë jare optimale breinontwikkeling bevorder. Dit versterk neurale ontwikkeling en lê die grondslag vir beter denkvaardighede soos analise, sintese en kreatiwiteit. Dit is presies die vaardighede wat ons ekonomie broodnodig het om in 'n internasionale wêreld mee te ding. Die voordele van moedertaalonderrig strek egter veel verder as net kognitiewe ontwikkeling. Taal dra kultuur, geskiedenis en identiteit. Wanneer ons kinders die geleentheid ontsê word om in hul moedertaal te leer, ontneem ons hulle van 'n belangrike deel van hul menswees. Dit het ernstige psigologiese gevolge en navorsing wat deur professor Nkonko, Suid-Afrikaanse taalkundige nou verbond aan die Howard Universiteit gedoen is, toon dat kinders...
Honorable Christians, my apologies, just take your seat for a moment. Honorable member, why do you want to be recognized?
Thank you very much, House Chair. I'm rising in terms of Rule 83. The member is reading word by word. Rule 83 says a member must far as possible refrain from reading his or her speech, but may refresh his or her memory by referring to notes. So don't read, man.
Thank you, Honourable Member. I've heard the point of order. Just switch off your mic, please. As you point out, the rule says as far as possible. For now, I'm accepting that the member is refreshing her memory from the notes. Honourable Christians, please proceed.
Navorsing deur professor Nkonko, 'n Suid-Afrikaanse taalkundige tans verbonde aan Howard Universiteit, toon dat kinders wat in hul moedertaal onderrig word, hoër selfvertroue het en 'n sterker sin van gemeenskap ervaar. Hulle is trots op hulle erfenis en dra meer positief tot hul gemeenskappe by. Geagte voorsitter, dit gaan nie net oor die bewaring van kultuur nie. Dit gaan oor die bou van 'n samelewing waar elke kind waardeer en bemagtig voel. Dit gaan daaroor om 'n onderwysstelsel te skep wat die diversiteit van ons nasie weerspieël en vier. Ons moet egter eerlik wees oor die uitdagings. Die implementering van moedertaalonderrig verg politieke wil, hulpbronne en volgehoue toewyding tot verandering. Ons moet die tekort aan gekwalifiseerde onderwysers wat in inheemse tale kan onderrig.
Honourable Christians, please just take your seat. Honourable Christians, please just take your seat. Yes, Honourable Member, why do you want to be recognised?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to point out that there are no Khoisan languages being translated. So could the Parliament please look at Khoisan languages in future as well? Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Douglas. For now, I believe we strive to have translation into the official languages, but I will ask the Deputy Speaker who's sitting there and who's in charge of translation services to consider that. Honourable Michalakis.
Thank you very much, Honourable House Chair. Before my member at the podium gets interrupted again, can I just ask that you please remind members about the rule on frivolous points of order? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Honourable Michalakis. Honourable Christians, please proceed. Let's hope that you can finish your speech without further interruptions.
Thank you, Chair. Ons moet hoëgehalte leermateriaal in al ons amptelike tale ontwikkel. En ons moet seker maak dat moedertaalonderrig nie 'n hindernis word vir die aanleer van Engels, aangesien Engels nog steeds die lingua franca van besigheid.
Honourable Christians, Honourable Christians. Please just take your seat again. Honourable Douglas, why do you want to be recognised now?
Mr. Chair, the problem is the way that the response came to us is not acceptable. You can't say that Khoisan languages is frivolous. It's not frivolous languages. The fact that this country has not recognized the Khoisan languages for 30 years is actually morally unacceptable.
Please take your seat. I've heard you. That's in fact not what the member said. The member said that the constant interruptions constitute frivolous points of order. Thank you. Honourable Christians, please continue.
Dankie voorsitter. Moedertaalonderrig lê 'n stewige fondasie wat kinders in staat stel om later 'n tweede of selfs 'n derde taal makliker aan te leer. Wanneer 'n kind eers konseptuele denke in hul eie taal ontwikkel het, word die oordrag van kennis na 'n nuwe taal natuurliker en meer effektief. Dit versterk meertaligheid en brei opvoedkundige en ekonomiese geleenthede uit, veral in 'n diverse samelewing soos onsene. Maar kom ons wees duidelik, moedertaalonderrig is nie 'n leksheid nie. Dit is 'n reg. Artikel 29 van ons grondwet waarborg elke kind die reg om onderrig te ontvang in die amptelike taal van hul keuse. Tog bly hierdie reg vir baie van ons kinders buite bereik. Dit is ons plig as parlementslede om te verseker dat hierdie reg beskerm en gehandhaaf word. Hierdie kwessie raak nie net onderwys nie, dit is 'n morele noodsaaklikheid. Dit gaan daaroor om elke kind in Suid-Afrika 'n regverdige kans te gee om sukses te behaal. Dit gaan oor die bou van 'n nasie waar geen kind agtergelaat word bloot oor die taal wat hulle in hulle huis praat nie. Geagte voorsitter, ter afsluiting, laat ons onthou dat die besluite wat ons neem die toekoms wat ons land vir geslagte na ons sal vorm. Ons mag nie ons kinders faal nie. Kom ons beskerm en bevorder moedertaalonderrig in ons skole. Kom ons bou 'n Suid-Afrika waar elke kind, ongeag van die taal wat hulle praat, die geleentheid kry om te presteer. Dankie voorsitter.
Dankie. The next speaker is the Honourable Mtetwa.
Mandibulise amalungu nobuholi bonke be-EFF. Kakhetheho kidumelise mo Presidente CIC Julius Malema. Ngibulise abahlali bonke baseningizimu Afrika. President, sadly I could not find an African expression to say happy belated birthday Mongameli. House Chair, iningi liyacinga ukuba ulwimi into yokuxhumanisa abantu ngokwentetho-ntetwano. Yet in the extreme, much is ignored of its genocidal power. Ingakumbi lapho ulwimi lusetshenziswa ngokwezombangazwe ukucindezela nokuhlukumeza ulwimi olunye ngolunye. Ulimi lunamandla ekugqugquzeleni nasekukhohliseni abanye ngokwezombangazwe and a critical tool in the political discourse. Ulwimi luyinsika yamasiko ethu, nezifiso zethu, namaphupho ethu, extending beyond communication to define who we are. As the late Dr. Ben Gubane stated, I quote, "A person's language is in many ways a second skin, a natural possession through which we express hopes, ideals, thoughts, values, and shape society." In 1974, uhulumeni wengcindezelo wabeka umthetho obizwa phecelezi ngokuthi i-Afrikaans Medium Decree, owawuphoqelela ukusetshenziswa kwesibhunu nesingisi ngokulingana njengamalimi okufundisa ezikoleni zabantu abamnyama. The policy aimed to deny black children access to quality education and to reinforce segregation and white supremacy. It's been 71 years since the Bantu Education Act institutionalized cheap black labor. 70 years since the Freedom Charter promised to open doors of learning and culture. 49 years since the 1976 youth uprising against Afrikaans as a medium of instruction. And 30 years into democracy, but where are we? Uma inkululeko ithathwa njengamandla abantu abanawo ekukhulumeni, ekwenzeni, nasekushintshweni lokho abafisa ukukushintsha ngaphandle kokuphoqelelwa, then linguistic freedom in South Africa is elusive. Out of 35 languages, only 11 are official. This means 24 languages remain suppressed, regardless of the highly acclaimed constitutional democracy. A clear example of this linguistic erasure is the exclusion of Khoi and San languages from official recognition, despite their deep historical roots in Southern Africa. Ngugi wa Thiong'o calls this cultural genocide, a systematic destruction of people's cultural expressions and ways of being. This is the real genocide we must confront, not the false and self-imposed narrative peddled by the racist AfriForum, Mabahambe uTrump balindele. According to the Stats SA 2022, isiZulu sitting at 23%, is the most spoken first language, followed by isiXhosa sitting at 16% and Afrikaans at 14%. English ranks fourth at mere 9.6%. Yet English dominates public life, government, media, and education, despite its colonial roots. The deliberate imposition marginalizes indigenous languages and limits opportunities for those who do not speak English fluently. Phezu kwakho konke lokhu, sinohulumeni omnyama. As Professor Pio Lumumba would say, the problem in Africa is that those who have power have got no ideas, and those with ideas have got no power. This is evident in South Africa, where language policy remains untransformed. A white child in South Africa learns, lives, and thrives in their mother language. A black child, however, is forced to navigate life in a foreign language. This perpetuates the same colonial violence we claim to resist. In our attempt to anglicize, though being the numerical majority, we become a cultural minority. As African leaders, we must act decisively. Kiswahili, spoken by over 200 million people, should be a unifying language across the continent, fostering Pan-Africanism and dismantling self-hate disguised as xenophobia. Bob Marley reminds us, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Marcus Garvey echoes, we are going to emancipate ourselves from mental slavery. For while others might free the body, none but ourselves can free the mind. Currently, we are faced with a situation. As we debate, our own interpreters are faced with a myriad of unresolved challenges, short staffing, and forever overworked with long hours of sittings without
Honourable
breaks.
Mtetwa, unfortunately your time has now expired.
Matters, the management results into victimization. Malibuye izwe lethu, malibuye.
The next speaker is the Honourable Ngwangu.
Honorable Chairperson, ngiyakhuleka emakhosini nasendlunkulu, ngibingelele kuwo wonke amalungu ahloniphekile alendlu. It is a great honor to rise today in this house to speak on a matter that strikes at the very heart of our identity, our dignity, our human rights, the importance of preserving and promoting our mother languages. Namuhla njengoba sigubha usuku lomhlaba wonke lolimi lwebele, sikhunjuzwa ngeqhaza elikhulu elidlalwa ulimi ekubumbeni isizwe namagugu ethu, imfundo yethu kanye nokuhlukahlukana kwamasiko ethu. IsiZulu sithi ke ulimi lwesizwe luyigugu. Izilimi zomdabu zisengozini yokushabalala. Lokhu ngenxa yokungaqhakanjiswa kwezilimi zethu. Okudala ukugxila kakhulu ezilimini zasentshonalanga. Ezinamandla ezinkundleni ezifana nemfundo ephakeme, emabhizinisini, kuhulumeni kanye nakwezinye izinkundla zokuxhumana. Honorable members, language is more than just a means of communication. It is the soul of a people, a vessel that carries history, traditions, and indigenous knowledge from generation to generation. It is in our mother tongues that our grandparents passed down wisdom through fairy tales, through poems, through praises, and through amahubo that stirs us into unity as communities. Yet, despite this, we continue to witness the erosion of indigenous languages, both in South Africa and across the world. Schools are shutting doors on mother tongue education. Businesses prioritize foreign languages, and even within families, indigenous languages are being spoken less and less. This is tragedy we cannot allow to continue. Honorable Chairperson, we take guidance from our Constitution, which in the Bill of Rights affirms the Section 29, subsection 2, that everyone has the right to receive education in the official language of their choice, where reasonably practicable. This right is not just a privilege, it is a constitutional guarantee that must be upheld. The Supreme Court of Appeal reaffirmed this right in 2009 case regarding school language policies. The ruling made it clear that school governing bodies have the exclusive say on their school's language policy. As the IFP, we have always championed multiculturalism and the right of learners to be educated in their mother language. As the late Prince Jozitube wisely said, and I quote, "The preservation of our language is a duty we owe to future generations," unquote. Ek wil graag vandag aan alle Afrikaans sprekers sê, moenie julleself bekommer nie. Daar is geen bedreiging vir Afrikaans nie. Afrikaans is 'n geliefde taal en sal altyd gekoster word en beskerm word soos enige ander amptelike taal. Afrikaans is Suid-Afrikaans. Die IFP staan bankvas agter alle Afrikaanssprekers. Afrikaans is 'n lekker taal. Baie dankie hoor.
Thank you. The next speaker is the Honourable Souls.
Honourable Chair, honourable members.
Order, honourable members. It's now the opportunity of the Honourable Souls. Honourable Souls, please continue.
Honourable Chairperson, honourable members, greetings in the wonderful name of our Lord and Saviour Jesus Christ. Moinke ahuniki. As the world celebrates the 25th anniversary of International Mother Language Day, an initiative that came about because of a protest on the 21st of February 1952 in East Pakistan. 27 years after my home language, Afrikaans, was made official in South Africa. Unfortunately for the First Nation of this country, the Khoi and San, and us, their so-called colored descendants, this day serves as a sad reality that Khoi and San languages are still not recognized as official. It is further disheartening that the mother of the Afrikaans tongue, known as Ku-Afrikaans or Afrikaaps, is still considered a watered-down, inferior version of Afrikaans as we know it. Afrikaans is a Creole language that de facto dates to pre-colonial encounters at the Cape between diverse cultures. Hotsman holds, open quote, a socio-linguistic inequality has existed in South Africa between speakers of similar but divergent languages, namely Afrikaans and Afrikaans. The former is standardized and official. Afrikaans was regarded as lesser than but not equal to Afrikaans, closed quote. And this is because everyone, when speaking about Khoi San and colored identity, has all become very fluent in the one language that can be spoken in every language. Honorable Chairperson, the Bible calls that language lies and further exclaims that it is the devil's native language. Colored children are struggling in schools with comprehension because although Afrikaans is our home language, the version of it taught in schools is not the version we speak at home. It is a lie that you get Saver Afrikaans and Kombees Afrikaans or Gangster and Ghetto Afrikaans. Afrikaans is Saver. En as ons taal, we don't say juweliersware, we say jewelry. We don't say koek sisters, we say koe sisters. We don't say goeiedag, we say middag, hoe's it? Of away massacre. We don't say dinge moet balanceer. We say goedes moet balance. We don't say ons huiwer nie. We say ons bysa nie. Honorable Chair, die Boesman het gelandela op die gronde van parlement. And we call on government to ensure that our mother tongue, language like Ngu, Nama, and Afrikaans are preserved, developed, and made official. As PA, we still believe in our rainbow nation, where all races lives as one under God. Ayo, Gangans, and I thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is the Honorable Dr. BOSA.
Agbare huisvoorsitter, baie dankie. 'n Belangrike deel van my toespraak oor moedertaal het ek nou vandag geskryf, nie in my moedertaal nie, en ek wil maar vir die MK vra om geduldig te wees want ek gaan lees, anders raak my Engels op. Honorable House Chair, historically people make widely divergent choices regarding their mother tongues. Let's put ourselves back in the past to illustrate this. It is 1902. The British Empire has defeated Boer resistance and gained full hegemony in Southern Africa. Lord Alfred Milner has big plans for this region. With its gold mines and farmland, this would be the shiniest gem in the British crown. Afrikaners and Africans were culturally speaking equally excluded. Language barriers and lack of connection prevented both, except for some individuals, from ascending the imperial ladder. The invitation, however, was open. Acquire a British identity and the sky would be the limit. Afrikaners and Africans responded in opposite ways, which were also rooted in history. For Africans, English was a language of upward mobility and was embraced by the elite. Since the unsuccessful anti-colonial wars of the 1870s, the focus of African resistance became the cosmopolitical mining centers of Kimberley and Johannesburg. Tribal resistance made way for a common black identity, demanding equal rights in the colonial order. That developed into African nationalism, with English as common language to supersede the local identities. Ethnicity remained culturally relevant, but became politically irrelevant. So, for the nation to live in English, vernacular languages were relegated to private and limited spaces. Attempts to promote the use of African languages in education were viewed with suspicion as nothing more than the age-old strategy of divide and rule. The result is clear today. An African population economically divided between the haves and the have-nots, the BEE-able and the not BEE-able. The BEE-able can navigate the economy either as real entrepreneurs or as tenderpreneurs, because they have mastered science and commerce through a medium they have not sufficiently mastered, and that was aptly described by the member of the EFF. They do not meet the requirements to be beable and therefore remain poor. The African nationalist language choice turned out to facilitate upward mobility for a select few and to exclude the many. Afrikaner nationalism rejected the imperial invitation. They were not excluded from English institutions. They refused to go there. They built their own banks, universities, even other institutions of lesser importance, even at an initial cost of lower quality. However, the most desperately poor Afrikaner could enter the world of science and commerce in the mother tongue. This is something to celebrate and to share. En as ek dan daarmee kan afsluit, dan wil ek sê dat om jou eie variëteit van 'n taal toe te eien en te sê dis nie maar net 'n dialek van 'n ander taal nie, dit is my taal, dit is wat die agbare souls net nou uiteengesit het. Toe Afrikaners Afrikaans gepraat het, het mense gesê dis swak Nederlands. Ons het gesê dis nie swak Nederlands nie, dis ons taal en ons noem hom Afrikaans. Ek dink die sprekers van Afrikaans behoort presies dieselfde te doen. Ek dankie.
Thank you, Dr. BOSA. Honorable members, before I call on the next speaker, will you please just check where you are sitting that your microphones are switched off? I see one microphone here in the front row to my left. Just to your left, Honorable Makubele, yeah. That can also assist the sound. The next speaker is the Honorable Letlape, Dr. Letlape.
Modula Stilo, ke a leboga. You know, I sit there and I say to myself, where was I raised? Because where I come from, language was used to divide, not for social cohesion. My mother was born to a Swazi father and a Ndebele mother. My father was double Tswana. And my mother was not accepted by the Tswanas because of the language that she spoke. She was discriminated against most of her life. And my everyday experiences of language in South Africa, we use it to exclude, not to include. Right here in Parliament, when we go on oversight visits, if you sit in a car and we want to exclude you, we'll speak an African language you do not understand. If you sit another car, they will break into Afrikaans so that you're not part of that conversation. So we need to stop trying to fix the past. It's gone. But if we're going to have a future, we must be truthful about the past. I had the pleasure of visiting an Asian tiger in one of my first international trips in 1990, Singapore. Singapore is 80% Chinese, 15% Malay, 5% others. The official language of Singapore is English. They punch above their weight in terms of their economy. They are a small island with no resources. But the nationhood is built around pragmatism and meritocracy. When you go to Singapore, you will not think they are a small England. You know that you are in an Asian country. Their cultures are rich, their cultures are visible, but they are not used for identity purposes. They are not used to divide. They are used to celebrate diversity. And we need to move into that space in this country, given our history. In 1976, I matriculated in 75. I'm from Soweto. And we saw what happened on the basis of language. When you look at what is happening today about some of us going to the White House to seek refuge, it's about Dital, it's about Dikaltir. We need to put those discussions in the right space as South Africans. We must live in our reality. Language is for communication. When we talk about defining ourselves through language, we cannot unite this nation, because that is not how we have used language in the past or we use language now. When we talk about 12 official languages, there are others that are not recognized. If you come from the townships and you are not fluent in English, you will go nowhere. We've had interviews for the NYDA, and if you do not have the command of the language, even when you have content, you can't express yourself. It is important at a developmental stage that you speak the home language, whatever it is, whether it's your father's, your mother's, or the neighbor's. The choice is yours. Language divides. English must be the official language, and all other languages and cultures should be promoted.
Honourable members, the next speaker is the Honourable Thring.
Thank you, Honourable House Chairperson. As we debate International Mother's Day, the African Christian Democratic Party condemns in the strongest terms the brutal beheading of 70 Christians by Allied Democratic Forces, the ADF, linked to the Islamic State or ISIS in Meiba, Lubero in the DRC. To add insult to injury, these Christians were violently beheaded in the sanctity of a church in Kasanga. This was not an act of terror, but it was a targeted massacre of Christians. As I have said in numerous debates in this House, we cannot be silent. The ACDP calls on all Christians, Jews, Muslims, Hindus, and other faith-based groups to condemn this heinous, barbaric act, this silent genocide, in the strongest terms, lest our silence gives credence to complicity. The ACDP will not be silent. Back to the debate, the ACDP positions that without effective mother tongue education, we will continue to witness increased dropout rates and children struggling to cope academically. The ACDP views mother tongue education in the early grades with a structured transition to English as key to a learner's effective education. Research, both locally and globally, confirms that children learn best when taught in a language they understand. The success of the Eastern Cape Mother Tongue Education Project, where isiXhosa and Sesotho were used beyond grade 3, proves that early literacy and numeracy flourishes when learners grasp basic concepts in their mother tongue. Studies indicate that where English is introduced too late without proper bilingual support, learners struggle in later grades, particularly when transitioning to English in grade 4, if the Basic Education Minister is listening. Hence, phasing in English must be done carefully, systematically, and early. To ensure success, the ACDP believes we must firstly strengthen teacher training, where we need educators fluent in home languages and proficient in English. Secondly, we must make high quality learning materials available where currently many African languages lack adequate textbooks and resources beyond grade 3. And finally, we call for an abrupt shift to English in grade 4, but rather a phased approach is needed from grade R by implementing a structured language transition plan. The ACDP commits to an inclusive, well-planned language policy, ensuring that children's language leads to children's understanding. I thank you.
Honourable Kwankwa.
Well, if you guys suffer are suffering from an identity crisis, we don't. Kukolanteto itesxhoseni izithuku zenja ziphelele boyini. Isizathu soba ndiqale ngolo hlobo kudala apha siyithetha lento sidwekesha sithetha nangale parlamente ngakumbi ukuthi indlela esifanele siqhube ngayo ifanele ibonisa inhlonipho kwiilwimi zakuthi. Nanku Castalina Phemi Majodina ngapha udla ngokukhokela ngomzekelo. Bekudla ngokhunyushwa apha kube incelekithi abantu bekhuphisana ngesingesi sifike thina sizothetha ilwimi zethu apha kule ndawo. Bethanda bengathandi omnye umongameli apha ebeqiniseka ukuthi isiZulu sako kwabuya sithetha nguformer president Jacob Zuma ebekwazi nodeliverisha ispeech ngesizulu. Elo xesha ke bekukhunyushwa apha kukhutshiswa nangesingesi. Sizabathina abantwana bethu abantu abamnyama bananyani banenkwalambisa. Abaninzi apha bazofundekela ngoba makupromote iAfrican languages abantwana baba bakwazi nozithetha ezi languages abazazi noba bangobani. That's the hypocrisy esinayo thina nalonto sihambe sifundekela apha sifuna amalungelo esingakwazi ukuqhubha endlini. Uba kazazi ungutshawe pha kwendlini asozazazi noba ungutshawe noba uhamba kweliphini icala. Okwesibini into okuba abantwana nezilwimi safunza bona sawugqiba xa yophangela pha kufuneka athi excuse me ndizofuna umsebenzi. Kuthiwe kwezi businesses yana kwezi restaurants zalapha eKapa kuthiwe umntana afike athi umuntu omnyama kuwe no ukuthetha isiXhosa is not professional because icacile uba sisingesi sodwa esi-professional kuba ingcinezelo ngoku kuphethe thina yeelwimi zethu iyaqhubeka. I-irony kwale nto uba why are we celebrating imini yokuthi sibhiyozele imini yokuthetha ilwimi zethu kodwa siyi-majority apha. Silibele simane sikhumsha yonke imihla nakule parlamente singavuka nangaba bantu basivotele ukuze beze apha kuba kaloku thina apha ingqondo yethu inengcinezelo yokucinga ukuthi xa uthe wakhumsha wena mntu unengqondo uthetha into ebhadlileyo ilapho ingxaki iqala apho uyoqhina iqhugqwala. Okwesibini yinto yokuba into uzuyijonge into yoba nazi iitoliki zethu apha kule parlamente kunini siyithetha le nto kukhona iphepha elinye elibhalwe ngeelwimi zethu silapha sizinkokeli. Abanye betolika into ezingekhoyo nje into bafuna batolika iilwimi ezintathu emnye. Abana nomphathi nje kuwavula zibhuqe kwaxhele yakhe akabuzwa noba ngubani ofuna ungena uyafika afike ngaphakathi afuna ukulawula senza nje into engekho kufuneka isikhokelo siqale thina apha bazokwazi ubona abantu bakwenziwa njani futhi singangabazi ngobuAfrika nobuntu bethu nangeelwimi zethu sizithethe futhi ngebhongo bathi naxa becinga sikwazi ukukhumsha otrolly pha basivele sitshintshele esingesini babhideke sikwazi ubonakala ukuthi siyazazi zonke languages kuba kaloku singabantu abaflexible thina. Dakota ndalenga ndabetha ndabhuqa ndakota ndalenga camakho.
Nkosi. The next speaker is the Honorable Ghana.
Na khensa mthama xitolo. Eka siku ra namuntlha ni ta nyika mbulavulo wa mehe hi ririmi ra manana. Hi Xitsonga xo hlantsweka. Xo basa pata ni mapa vahlonipheki va huvo vaholobye va Afrika-Dzonga ya rikwerhu namuntlha ni yime laha mahlweni ka n'wina ku ta tlangela sikunkulu siku ra ririmi ra manana leri tlangeriwaka misava hinkwayo. Siku leri ri tlangeriwa hi siku ra 21 hi n'hweti ya Nyenyenyana lembe na lembe loko parlamente ya tiko ku ri yo yi tlangelaka siku leri tanihi leswi tshamaka tikweni ra tindzimi ta 12 ta ximfumo. Hi ri vula ririmi ra manana hikuva hi ri mamaveleni ra mhani. Ndzi tirhisa mbulavulo wa mina ku khensa no tlangela mhani a nga ni dyondzisa Xitsonga kusukela ndza ha ri cece. Ndzi khensa no tlangela ndyangu wa ka Ghana na muganga wa Lefara hikuva n'wana a hi wa wun'we. Ni tlangela ni ku khensa vadyondzisi hinkwavo va dyondzo ya Xitsonga kusuka exikolweni xa le hansi xa Muxoti ku ya N'wahungani Lefara DZJ Mthebule na xikolo xa le henhla xa Giyani. Ndzi yima ku khensa vahaxi na vahumelerisi eka Munghana Lonene hi kule hi yingisela yona yi hi dyondzisa ririmi leri. Ndzi rhandza ku khensa no tlangela vatsari va tibuku ta Xitsonga. Mina ndzi kule hi makombandlela leyi ya tsariwe hi HWE Ntsan'wini.